Now, as we continue our Women's Health Week, we're discussing something that affects millions of women every year, urinary tract infections. But despite being so common, they're often still considered taboo.
Yeah, and if left untreated, UTIs can spread to your kidneys and cause permanent damage, which is exactly what happened to our next guest, presenter Cherry Healey, joins us alongside senior urologist Jean McDonald. Good morning to both of you.
Good
Jean,
morning. Thank you.
Cherry, I'm aware of UTIs. I know that my wife has experienced them in the past. But your first experience of a UTI was when you were tiny.
Absolutely tiny. So some people, the reason UTIs are a taboo is because they're associated with sex and hygiene after sex. So and when people say to you, because I've had chronic UTIs, they say, oh, is it, how's your hygiene? I think I was 3 when I first got them. I thought I was 6. And my first memory is at my old house where I grew up. And I thought I was 6. And I called my mum and I asked her, and she said, no. She said, you were 3.
3 years
I couldn't know. And she said, you actually had to go to hospital and you were put on a funny machine where you were turned upside down and you were filled with dye. And I mean, don't you love the drama? And Alison with the drama. And I said, I can't believe that. And that kind of also made sense as to why I'm so prone to them. But I remember having one when I was 6, and I've had them on and off throughout my life. My worst block of time was in my in my 30s after I had my 2 children. Obviously, something happened physiologically or hormonally that meant my body just couldn't get enough of them. Yeah, every month.
And what were the symptoms that you were experiencing then?
So the symptoms that there are lots of different symptoms, but the way it shows up in my body is wanting to pee, wanting to go to the loo. But then when you do go to the loo, it's really frustrating because it's only a couple of drops. You're like, come on! Take a book is my recommendation.
Right.
And feeling sick, feeling a bit depressed, which is a funny one, but I've spoken to other women and they feel the same too. Feeling a bit down, feeling really uncomfortable. I spoke to the lady in your makeup room. She put it perfectly. She said, I want to take off my own skin, which is obviously very dramatic, but after a while, because it builds and it builds and it builds, that infection gets worse and worse, it gets to the point where it's actually unbearable. So this idea that because lots of women experience it, half of women have experienced a UTI and a quarter of women chronic UTI, so they're extremely common. I think there's a sense of, and this happens a lot with women's health, there's a sense of, oh God, just take a painkiller and go home, have a hot bath. They're serious, and if left untreated, you can end up getting sepsis and you can die. So I don't want to over-dramatize, but they should be taken more seriously. We should have an over-the-counter, non-antibiotic treatment. At the moment, there's not much you can do. You can just take antibiotics, which isn't good. You shouldn't take antibiotics. We all know that you don't want to become immune. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
There are 3 over-the-counter solutions to erectile dysfunction, just over-the-counter, non-antibiotic. There's not a single one for UTIs, and that just says there's a real gender health gap in things that are common for women.
And they can kind of strike anywhere, anytime, any place. You had one particular occasion where it was so dramatic and you got so ill, didn't you?
Well, it was my own fault, Kat. I was my own doing. So I was filming, and on the Wednesday evening of filming, I thought, I
think I might be getting...
Woke up on Thursday, yes, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
But I was a bridesmaid. I was actually maid of honour at one of my best friends' wedding, and I thought, I was going straight from filming to her wedding in the countryside, middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's no way I could get to a doctor.
You couldn't get something.
So I just was drinking cranberry juice, taking painkillers, which don't work. Painkillers don't work for UTIs. And I could feel my body getting sicker and sicker. I went through the Friday night celebrations, smiling like... and then by Saturday at the wedding, I just felt horrendous. And my partner, who then joined, looked at me and said, you look really bad. I had a blanket wrapped around me the whole wedding pretty much because I was shaking uncontrollably because there was a fever. What had happened is the UTI... Because I also thought, maybe it's getting better.
Right, it was improving.
And what had happened is it had moved up to my kidneys.
Oh, no.
So then I got really, really, really sick, and I just went into a dark room and I sat there with a headache, and that's when the infection really set in. Went to A&E the next day, and they just couldn't work out what was going on. And I underplayed UTIs so much because I just thought everyone got them. I didn't even tell them I'd had one because I didn't think that was it. Because I thought it had gone.
You thought it was something else at that point?
It's only when they were going to do a lumbar puncture on me to find out, because they realised I was really, really, really unwell. And they turned me over onto my tummy, and she pushed my back, and I went, ow! And she said, oh.
And it's actually scarred your kidneys.
Yeah, she said, I think it's in your kidneys. And I was in hospital for 5 days.
Oh, Cherry.
On an IV antibiotics. And it scarred my kidneys. And that's what happens if you don't
do it.
listen to your body.
Yeah.
Jean, I imagine you hearing Cherry talk about it like that. It's something you've heard over and over again from women who have been through this. Can you just describe what the UTI is? And is there a reason that certain people are more susceptible? Cherry has been getting them since she was 3.
Right. Well, a urinary tract infection is an infection in the bladder. And basically what happens, you may just suddenly get up, usually on a Friday or a Saturday, because
It's always. Why?
Yes.
Why?
I know, it always is a day that you can't go to the doctor. And then you're passing urine quite frequently.
Right.
You may feel a bit under the weather. In a sort of situation, you may sort of have blood in the urine. Or urine smells a bit off, and you're rushing to the toilet, but you're actually not passing much. And you get these symptoms, and then it's important to drink lots of fluids. And then what happens then is that you may go to the chemist or, and sort of ask for something. But there are different things that one can actually use. And, try to use like D-mannose, for example, and cranberry, but...
So that works, is it? It's not a myth. Cranberry juice works?
It's different. It works with different people.
Right, okay.
Because, as you know, everybody is different, and some bodies react to one thing and
My body
others
does not
another
work
one.
with cranberry.
And what
delicious, though.
What does the cranberry juice do? Does it change the acid level?
The acidity, yes, in the urine.
Okay.
And then it prevents the bacteria from actually binding to the bladder.
Okay.
Jean, is there a reason why Cherry would be more susceptible than any other women in the family, potentially?
The thing is, she says she had urinary tract infections from when she was quite young.
Right.
So you think whether or not she had something called vesicoureteric reflux. And that is when, because urine should be coming from the kidney down to the bladder.
Yeah.
And if the opening, when it comes in, it's bigger than it should be, urine can reflux up into the kidney. And that can happen usually as the child grows up, then the ureter sort of lengthens, so to speak, and it may not be as bad as they go. But, she has a family history of this.
Right. Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Yeah.
And it would make you more prone to have infections later in life as well, especially,
Absolutely.
in
Is
pregnancy.
there anything people can do to kind of try and prevent them from happening?
Right. There are lots of different things. One can make sure hygiene is very important. So you wipe from the front to the back, right?
Yeah.
Because, what happens in ladies, and the reason that ladies get urinary tract infections is because the whole of that perineal area, where the rectum is, the vagina, and the urethra, always has bacteria, no matter how clean you are.
Yeah.
And the bacteria that cause a urinary tract infection are bacteria that live in your gut. So taking things like probiotics can help.
Yeah.
Having adequate hydration, making sure that you're drinking enough fluids. Usually some people complain after sexual intercourse, especially if you use sort of these spermicidal agents, that as well is one of the things that can cause you to get urinary tract infection.
Is there a point, at what point should you go to your GP, though? Because clearly Cherry can deal with it and copes with it on a day-to-day basis and works it through and knows your body very well.
I'm never very far away from antibiotics.
Yeah, you've always got
near me.
something.
Oh, yeah.
With you.
But when would you say, right, now you need to see your GP?
If you're getting pain, if you get blood in the urine, and you've tried sort of the normal measures, and it's not working, and even antibiotics for 3 days and it's not working, then you know that something quite serious is happening, and then it can actually go up to the kidneys. And then you can get pyelonephritis, and which can be very, very
Then you're in
serious.
trouble.
Exactly.
Okay. So 3 days and then,
I was just saying, and Jay has got in touch saying having a UTI was literally one of the worst things that happened to me. I remember thinking I was going to die because it was so severe. I couldn't breathe, my head was spinning, my back was hurting, and I kept passing out. And that sounds like where you were when you ended up in A&E.
I mean, I've met so many people who say when they get them, they sleep naked in the bath because it's just the only place they have comfort. The FDA have just approved an oral vaccine which will stop you getting UTIs for up to 10 years.
Wow.
But that's in America, not here. But we need a lot more research for non-antibiotic solutions for something
Yes,
that affects so many
debilitating.
women.
Yes, absolutely.
This is another message we have from a viewer. UTIs are horrific. I had 7 already since January. No bacteria, so no antibiotics. Absolutely excruciating pain. Thank you this morning for covering it. Thank you, Cherry, for being courageous enough to come and share something so personal but so important as well. It's really, really important that you do. And Jean, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. Our next guest has quite the unique diet. For the last 5 years, he's been enjoying meals consisting of raw spleens, kidneys, and even raw chicken.
Yeah, that's right. You heard it right. Despite doctors' warnings, he claims his controversial diet has made him feel even better than ever. Gives him the urge to howl like a wolf.
Well, let's dive into this wild story and find out why. Weston Rowe joins us now live from his home in Nebraska. And Dr. Zoe is with us here around the table. Morning to you both. Good morning. Just a quick reminder, if you want to have your say, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now. Good morning, Weston. Thank you so much. I know it's about 5:24 in the morning there, so thank you for getting up nice and early for us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good morning, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good morning. So tell us, how much meat do you consume in a week? Is it every single meal?
Yeah, we eat raw meat every meal here, and I do about 2 pounds a day, so about, I'd say, 14 pounds a week.
Right, and how long have you been doing this for, Weston? And what was the catalyst for it?
Well, it's been about, I would say, 5.5 years. It'll be 6 years here in August. And what happened was I just kind of started having some health issues late in my 20s and early 30s, and skin problems and brain fog and fatigue and just a lot of issues that people face today. And I decided to take matters in my own hands and go ahead and address it with diet, because I knew that eating good food always made me feel better. And so I just kind of took one step at a time and basically ended up here.
Eating good food undoubtedly is going to make you feel better, but there's a big difference from eating sort of a broad range diet of fruit and vegetables and protein to then just sticking with the meat and then raw meat at that. How did you decide that was going to be the route that you went down?
Yeah, it was. It was basically it was like a path that I followed, and a lot of people end up here. It started with going gluten-free. That's a big movement. People cut out bread and grains and things like that. And I noticed a huge increase in my health by just cutting out gluten.
Yeah.
So I may have had some kind of non-celiac gluten intolerance or celiac disease or something going on. So I decided to take it a step further and cut out all carbohydrates. And so then they call that the carnivore diet. And I was cooking just meat and eggs and eating bacon and things like that all day long for about a month. And then I discovered the raw meat diet, which people claim makes you feel even better. And so then I just stopped cooking my food and I felt even better right away. So I just ended up here and I just never stopped doing it.
So, Weston, obviously, we were actually talking about it in the break before we came to you, and we were talking about eating sushi and eating raw steak and steak tartare and things like that. We've all definitely done that, but you eat everything. What was it like the first time, I don't know, you ate chicken or something different? What was the kind of the taste like, and also just even the feeling?
The mental experience of doing that as well.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I ever tried was a steak, like a ribeye steak. I guess that's probably the easiest thing to start out with. Most people can usually handle that. And it wasn't too bad, really. Like, I had a little bit of kind of a gag reflex because it was such a new texture and flavor. It took a while for my palate to adjust to just the bland taste, because we're so used to eating, salty, sugary foods our whole life. When we go back to what I believe is our natural diet, it can be quite a shock. So it took me a while to adjust to the flavors. And I actually gagged for a long time, but I knew it was the healthiest diet I could eat, and eventually got to the point to where it's very interesting. I actually really enjoy the flavors now.
And it's, as Kat was saying, it's about coming up to 5:30 in the morning, so it's breakfast time. The step from beef is one thing, but chicken is something else that you will eat raw. Was that a hard step to overcome, to actually take? Because we're told so often that you must cook chicken. Chicken can be really, really dangerous if it is eaten raw.
Yeah, that's a common thing that a lot of people believe, and I find it actually kind of funny because I've eaten like hundreds of raw chickens over the last 5 years, and I've never gotten what people call salmonella poisoning. So I think there's a lot more going on to the germ theory that germs cause disease, and you can get sick from eating raw meat. I think there's a lot more going on there than we're being taught, and
Right.
I think I'm on a proof of that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've got some chicken there, haven't you? You're going to eat some chicken for us for breakfast?
Sure. Yeah, I got this is a local raw pastured chicken breast, or this is a chicken leg. This is from a local farmer. I get everything from local farmers, and yeah, it's really nothing. It's pretty bland. It's not too bad.
Wow. So while you chow down on that for a second,
What's the texture like, Wes? Can I just ask, what's the texture like of that?
Well, I mean, it's just squishy and a little bit slimy.
it's like eating chicken. Dr. Zoe's here in the studio. Now, it's an interesting point, isn't it? He thinks there's lots of things going on about germ theory and with regards to what's in there. We can't recommend everybody or anybody goes and eats raw chicken, right?
No, well, I would advise definitely not doing that. I mean, there's some things Weston said there is getting it from a local farmer, it's locally sourced, his farmer knows he's eating it raw, so I'm sure, there are certain things like that, if it's stored properly and looked after, you can reduce the risk. But we also know that in America, 48 million people every year end up getting foodborne illnesses. So things like salmonella, campylobacter, clostridium, hepatitis A, worms, especially with pork. There's a really nasty type of worm infection you can get from raw pork that can then go to your brain, into your eyes. So we know, lots of infectious diseases that we see. I've seen patients who've had it, and there are certain things you can do to reduce the risk of that. But, we've all had a steak cooked rare.
Yeah.
I have.
But that was what we were talking
And with red meat, these bacteria, these pathogens only tend to survive on the outside, which is why it usually has to be seared all the way around. The difference with chicken is that those pathogens can travel all the way through the flesh, which is why it has to be thoroughly cooked. The same with mincemeat. You have to thoroughly cook
We're
it.
just going, what's that? Is that a kidney of some sort?
Is it
This
kidney or is it liver?
Grass-fed beef liver.
Grass-fed beef liver. Okay.
So, liver, very high in nutrients. It's something that some people may like to eat cooked. I wouldn't recommend eating it raw. Important point that people who are pregnant should not consume liver because it has toxic levels of vitamin
What
A.
about that point that Weston makes, that actually it's improved his health, he feels euphoric when he's eating it, and actually it's given him energy, and it's cleared the brain fog, and he feels all around much better.
Well, I think one of my other concerns about a diet that is 99% meat is nutritional deficiencies as well. There are lots of nutrients that we need as human beings that we can't get from animal sources, but I'm sure something Weston and I would very much agree on is that the typical modern-day diet in the UK and in the US is far too much ultra-processed foods.
Yes.
I think in the US, it makes up about 70% now of a person's typical diet. And that is toxic to us. It's not good for us. And one way to get rid of all those processed foods is to do a carnivore diet. I don't necessarily think it's the healthiest way. Some people go vegan and cut out all ultra-processed foods and can be very healthy as well. We are omnivores, so we are designed to be capable of eating both meat and plant foods, and you can cut out ultra-processed foods and do that, which I would pose as likely to be the healthiest option.
Weston, do you miss anything? Are you missing any food that you don't no longer eat? Ice cream, things like that?
Well, actually, we make raw ice cream here at the house. So we get raw milk and raw cream and raw eggs and raw honey, and we mix it all up and we make our own ice cream here. So we try to, sneak in little healthy snacks there.
And you've managed to get your girlfriend to do this diet as well with you, Weston, correct?
Yeah, and she's now my wife. And we have a baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she does it. She does it too. We all eat it. And her health has never been better too. It's been such a fun journey.
And then if you have a young family as well, what will you do with the young family?
Oh, they're going to be eating with us as well, for sure. We're all going to be eating that way, definitely.
It's absolutely fascinating. Weston, thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed your breakfast. It was extraordinary watching you eat it. I'm going to imagine what the flavour was like. And we should reiterate, particularly, Zoe, with the chicken.
Yes, and I think for anybody who, if they do go on to have a family during pregnancy, this is not safe. And for children as well, they can't get all the nutrients they need from animal products alone.
We do
So
not recommend
just
that
to
you eat
reiterate
raw
that.
chicken. Fascinating stuff. Thank you, Weston.
Thanks, Weston.
Zoe, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
According to new research, couples in their 60s are divorcing in their droves in what is being branded the silver splitter revolution.
Wow. We're joined now by one woman who's proving your love life doesn't have to end after you've called it quits.
Tina Pembleton, who's 69 years old, has made it her mission to find love before she hits 70, and she's been documenting it on social media.
You're going to love Tina.
I'm 69 and I'm dating. I'm not looking for a man I can just do puzzles with or sit by the fire. I want to be on fire. That was me 50 years ago. I was insecure. And look at me now. 69, little bit of a belly because I love my food. You like me or you leave me. I think I've been catfished by a plastic surgeon. You can still have a friend with benefits at my age. Why can't men make a little bit of an effort? I worry that maybe I'm too fiery, too loud. I'll only get louder as my hearing becomes a little bit more impaired. I got stood up by an Italian guy this week. There was no way I was going to rearrange. Ciao, bello. After all these years, I still don't understand what goes on in a man's head.
What is going on in a man's
Don't
head,
ask
Ben
me.
Shepherd?
I've got no idea.
What is going
that
on?
Italian will be... I mean, who's laughing now, Tina?
Well, unfortunately, you don't know what I was saying because it just said I was having, bit of a sort of rant in Italian, but I was actually swearing at him.
Well done. Nice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely to meet you.
You are just infectious. You are a ray of sunshine. We love the TikTok. Don't we?
Loving
I'm
the
69
TikToks.
and I'm dating. So let's start with, why did you start doing this?
Because I was a little fed up with all the dating apps. I haven't really had that much success. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be trying to find someone before I'm 70, and I've only got a few months left.
You've not always been, Tina, you've not always been single, though, have you? You were very happily married for...
over 30 years.
Over 30 years. Then you and your husband decided, you just drifted apart, is that right?
We kind of separated about 7 years ago, and I just wanted more adventure in my life, new things, and wanted to come back and live in London. So here I am.
So you started using the dating apps?
Only a few years ago.
Just a few years ago. What's that experience been like?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't stop doing it because now I'm just swiping has become a full-time job. but I just think that really, if it was possible, probably still the best thing is to meet someone organically.
Right, okay.
If you could. I mean, I didn't grow up with dating apps, with texting.
No.
I didn't grow up with this, and I still find texting awful.
Yeah. It's a bit weird, isn't it? And all that kind of trying to decipher what someone's actually saying underneath it all.
But sometimes they don't say anything. They're so monosyllabic, or they talk about the weather. And I mean, you can't get excited. So I'm looking at their face to start with. But sometimes it's not only that. You might sort of see what they do, see how they... Sometimes you can listen to their voices, which is, tells a few things sometimes. But even when I do end up texting, I try to get to meet them as soon as I can.
Yes.
You like to be face-to-face?
So you
Immediately.
immediately.
Like, no, why don't we meet for a drink? Do you live in London?
Yeah. So who's your ideal man?
What are your requirements?
Come on,
that's a good
Ben. Maybe 10 years on.
Wow.
I'm not a cougar, by the way. I mean, a joke about this.
I think you might be.
No.
So what we're saying is the requirements you have when you're going through, because some of our viewers will be thinking, at similar age to you, they're keen to try something like this. What are the requirements that you need in the man that you're going to be dating?
I think it's not just drop dead good looks,
No.
I mean, I don't want... No, there's got to be charisma.
Right.
I want a man to be international.
Oh.
Yeah, it has to be. I'm a very international person. I have travelled a lot in my life. And now I just don't want to sit by the fire with someone with a pipe and slippers. I want someone to light my fire,
Yes. Right, and let's talk about age, because, I mean, we may have some eligible
Suitors.
bachelors watching today that might be interested. What sort of ages are we looking at?
Well, I wouldn't go lower than probably...
25?
No, 55.
55, okay.
55.
So you go 55.
When I, on my dating apps, I go like 55 to 70, early 70s.
That's a good window.
I've got some friends who are on dating apps,
yeah.
and they've also got some horror stories too of certain things that have happened, and or it's been going really well, and then all of a sudden, anything like that happened to you?
I wouldn't call them horror stories.
But?
I'd just call them disappointing stories.
Right.
I mean, my first date didn't even turn up. So
And that's your first one?
Now, that could have put me off forever.
Yes.
But it didn't. I thought, well, I'm just going to get used to this. Then I had a date where the picture wasn't bad. We said we'd meet for a tea or a coffee in the afternoon. I hadn't started dating people in the evening at that point. I thought it was safer to go in the daytime. Yeah. And when I met him, I could see the picture was at least 15 years old.
Right.
And we had chatted a little bit on the phone, because I like to do that first.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel. But when I met, I had absolutely nothing to say to him. And that's unusual for me.
Yeah.
I'm quite vocal.
But we can tell.
But anyway, after a few minutes, we were talking and we had nothing in common. He said his favourite meal was steak and chips, and mine is fusion fish. Spicier than ever. So
sometimes the spice of life,
yeah,
perhaps?
exactly. So next to this coffee shop was a fish shop. And I suddenly thought, how am I going to get away from this guy? I said, look, I've got to go and buy some fish because they're going to close soon.
Right.
Not thinking...
Did you do a run at tea?
No, he got up with me, paid for the tea.
Nice.
He said he couldn't bear the smell of fish, and he walked into the fish shop with me.
Oh, so
he quite
so he
liked
followed
you then.
He was...
So I suddenly
He was
said...
smitten.
So I said to him, well, it was really nice meeting you.
Yeah.
And he said, well, is that it? Aren't we going to see each other again?
Oh, wow.
And I said, well, to be honest, I don't think we've got much in common.
Did you do all this in the shop?
Yes.
You let him down in the fish shop?
In the fish shop. That's why he doesn't like the smell of fish anymore.
Heartbreak.
You've got kids, though. It's your son that encouraged the TikToks,
Yes,
which
Josh.
we absolutely love. And it's
Yes.
gone viral. Some of your videos have been watched over a couple of million times. What do your kids make of this, Tina, this newfound digital dating fame?
Well, I mean, my other son is married with young children, so he doesn't get as active. Josh is very protective of me, actually.
Yeah.
And he, if I go out, he's like, it's a bit of a role reversal. He's like waiting up for me, like, you're late, or where have you been? Or if I'm going out in the evening, he'll try and check where I'm going exactly in case, anything happens. But I'm pretty safe when I go out. I always meet in busy places, buzzy places.
Yeah.
I don't go and hide with all the old people in a bingo hall or something,
I think Tina.
Fish shop is
I think we need to
where
get
it's at.
Tina to come back and do some dating advice for some of our viewers.
Sure, would you
some
do that
phone-ins
for
with
us?
Tina.
I'd love to.
Yes.
I'd
and
love
maybe we
to.
can find some dates for Tina to go out on as well. Is that there's Josh over there?
We know her type. That's the thing. We know her type now.
Lovely. Tina, thank you for coming in. And as Kat says, bring a ray of sunshine and joy to us all as well.
Absolutely.
Keep being you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, the last night, ITV's BAFTA-winning show, Long Lost Family, returned to our screens, this time focusing on people who were quite literally born without a trace.
And in tonight's episode, we'll hear the story of Rachel MacArthur, who shortly after birth in 1969 was abandoned in a long-stay car park at London's Euston Station and became known as the Euston Baby.
And now, more than 50 years later, Rachel contacted the Long Lost Family team to try and get some of those answers she's been so desperately looking for. She joins us now. Lovely to see you this morning, Rachel.
Thank you.
Kat and I have watched this episode of Long Lost Family, and it is truly remarkable. I wonder how you feel about the fact that people are finally going to get to see it, because you must have filmed it a while back.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. It's just such an amazing story to find out there were so many of us as well. We're one of 12. But I think the thing that meant the most, that I had 2 full siblings. So that meant such a lot to me as well.
Well, come to the siblings, because the siblings thing is just one of the most exciting bits of it, of course.
Lovely.
But tell us about your story. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like a fairy tale, really, isn't it? We talk about babies being left at stations.
Call them foundlings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that was actually your existence.
Yes, it was. So I think I was around 6 weeks old, and I got taken into care after I'd been found in the station. And at the time, my adoptive mum, she was running a children's home, and she had one space, and they phoned her and said, "Have you heard of the Euston baby? Would you like to come and meet her?" And that was it. My mum fell in love with me, and she adopted me after 12 months. We moved up to the Midlands, and I had an idyllic childhood, really. It was perfect. Little country village, ran the post office there. So it probably wasn't until I was about 7 or 8 that my mum had gradually introduced me into Paddington Bear.
Yeah. Phyllis, she did, didn't she? Because he was left at a train station.
And she told me one evening, I can still remember it, and she said that I'm just like Paddington Bear. And he was left in the station, and so were you. And I think at such a young age, you don't really realise what that meant until I got a bit older. And I think I'd questioned my brother, actually, rather than my mother. Do you have to be born to a mother? Or are you just adopted? So I think there was a bit of a process as I was growing up, but it probably didn't really affect me until I was in my teens, when, you know, you understand, you know, what's happened to you, what the circumstances, you don't know what they were, and that doesn't sit well on your mind, especially when you're a teenager.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I had the support of my parents, the support of my family, and, you know, as I've gone on in life, I've been quite resentful to my birth mother. Didn't know her circumstances. And I think it probably wasn't until I'd given birth to my son, who's now 14, that I actually kind of came to terms a bit with how horrible it must have been to carry a baby for 9 months and then keep it for 6 weeks and then give it away, leave it. And that was it. I understand that she told nobody about my existence, so...
We know that now, don't we, of course, since you've been through the programme. But it took the birth of your son for you to sort of realise how painful that must have been.
Yeah, I sort of came to terms with it, and I stopped being so angry at her and resentful. It's funny you mentioned the word foundling, because there was a series called Foundlings, and I used to watch that, and I used to get really angry watching it. Probably, you know, because it's so premeditated to leave a baby somewhere. It still goes on now.
Well, that was the moment when you went to Euston Station and you actually stood there and had that moment, and that moment of realisation of, you know, she was there with you 6 weeks, and she'd made the decision that was what she was going to do, and she thought that was the best. So as you've kind of started to piece together the story, what did you find out about your birth mother?
She hadn't had a very good upbringing. No. I think she'd grown up in care with her. She was one of 4, so they all grew up in care. She had my older sister, Eileen, when she was 14. And then she's had me when she was 15. And we believe that she was living on the streets.
Right.
With Eileen and myself.
Yeah.
So she then went on to have another child a year later. And that was Shane. And he was taken straight to social services, I believe, in Ireland. Yeah. And was adopted.
So you suddenly find out about your mum, but crucially, you find out about your siblings.
Yeah.
You've got a sister and a brother. Yeah. And then there's more siblings as well along the way that are half brothers or sisters or connected in some way. But you have these 2 brothers. What was that moment like when they told you had siblings?
I couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. I always wanted a big family. And, you know, part of my thing, did I have more siblings? Was she still alive? Sadly, she's not. I'm not going to be able to meet her. But to find out that I have such a big family, and of course the age we are, where they've all had kids themselves.
So there's extended nieces and nephews,
lots to meet.
When you met, you had like an instantaneous kind of connection. I think we've got Eileen down the line now.
Because she's in Canada.
Good morning, Eileen. Good morning. Thank you so much for staying awake for us.
No problem.
Thank you. So how was this moment for you? Because it's an incredible moment in the show where you both walk into this room together and you hold and hold and hold each other and kind of don't let go.
It was amazing, actually, when I first found out about her, which was in November of last year. And I was told that I have a sister. But at first they thought I was just a half sister, and did the DNA and found out we were full blood sisters. And that was pretty amazing. So, yeah, when I met her, it was just, first I saw a picture of her and we do look alike. So that was kind of neat. And when I met her, it was, I always felt like there was something missing in my life. And I at first thought it was Shane when I was told about Shane. That wasn't quite it. And then when I met Rachel, it just seemed like that was it. She was the one I was missing.
Yeah.
And didn't know about it, but...
Had your mum ever mentioned anything to you over the years, Eileen?
Nothing at all. So, she was, I think it was 2011 that I found out about Shane. And that was because Shane was trying to get a hold of our family, get a hold of us.
Yeah.
She felt like she was forced to tell me. And, but nobody knew, not my aunt or anybody.
And did Rachel look like your mum when you saw her first time?
She does look like my mom. She's got similar eyes to my mom, sure.
And they look so similar
you do,
too.
looking at the two of you as well. It's just amazing. I imagine you had so many questions for her, Rachel, when you first met.
Yeah, absolutely, loads. You know, when you're a foundling, it's one big thing that nobody looks like you. So it was just amazing to be able to look at, my sister and pictures and see people that look like me. It was just such a big thing for me.
And the most amazing thing now is you've got each other forever now.
Yeah.
And that connection will always now be there.
Yeah, like I say, it's built. I always had that connection initially, but it's got stronger and stronger.
Well, look, we are thrilled that you came in to share your story.
You.
It's
delighted for you.
Thank you, Rachel. Eileen, thank you for staying up. You can go to bed now. I think it's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's lovely to see the two sisters side by side as well.
And you
peas in a pod.
See the story tonight at 9 o'clock on ITV1. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. Ahead of a new documentary, Detective Constable Maddie Henner, who was lead on the case, joins us alongside Emil's ex-partner, Nicolene Shepherd. Good morning to you guys. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Tell me what you thought when you first heard about this case, Marie.
So the first time I heard about this case, I was at work on CID in Salisbury. And we had a phone call into the office. It had been a very busy day. It was a bank holiday Monday. It had been a very busy day and a phone call came in. And it was from the chief instructor at Netheravon Airfield where the accident had happened. And he phoned up to say that there'd been an incident the day before and he had some doubts about it. He was unsure about it and thought that police ought to be involved.
So initially, everyone thought it was just a tragic accident, that the parachute and the reserve hadn't opened and that she had crashed to ground. Miraculously, she did survive, but it was only when suddenly they looked at the parachute, they thought, hold on, this doesn't look like it was an accident, this has been tampered with.
Yes, as you say, miraculously, she survived.
It's incredible.
Somebody was certainly looking after her that day. I think right from the start, the chief instructor had some doubts.
Suspicion, right.
He thought something was not right about it, hence he'd called in police. Yeah.
Right. And did Victoria have any thoughts that it might be her husband at all? When you first started talking to her, what did she think had happened?
I think you'd probably have to ask her, but I think she realised that this couldn't have happened accidentally when we explained the technical side of why the parachute had failed. But I'm not sure that she thought it was her husband at that point.
When did Emil become the main suspect?
So, about a week and a half after the incident, I received a phone call at work from a friend of Victoria's, and she said that she had some concerns.
And she was a doctor too, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, I
yes,
remember.
in the military, yes.
Yeah.
She said she had some concerns about their relationship and that it wasn't quite the perfect relationship that it appeared from, to the outside world. And she asked if she could talk to me about it. So I took a statement from her about 2 weeks later, at which point we thought, yeah, he's going to have to be spoken to officially.
And so then you spoke to him, you interviewed him, and straight away, your hairs kind of went up on the back of you. There was a certain level of intuition that you kind of listened to, and you were like, I'm not sure about this guy.
Yes. It's funny, when you deal with people all the time as a police officer, you learn to read people.
Very much so.
And I think he just made me very uncomfortable right from the get-go.
In
really.
what way?
He was supremely confident. When you've been arrested on suspicion of attempting to murder your partner, to be that supremely confident did not feel right.
It's interesting, Nicoline, because you met Emile many, many years before, and you sort of were childhood sweethearts, I guess. What was your experience of meeting him when you were a teenager and falling in love with him?
Don't really know how to explain it. I was a child, and I think I had sort of held a candle for him before I actually officially met him, because he was older than me. He was higher up in school. He was quite popular. He was part of the athletic team. So there was already a sort of attraction there before we even met.
And then when you did get together, and very quickly you fell pregnant.
3 years.
Yeah. But in terms of your age, I mean, you've known him for a few years. You were only 16 at the time?
Yeah.
When you got pregnant with your first child.
Yeah.
Suddenly you were in a relationship with him. What was he like? When you think back to it now, did some of the sort of the controlling, coercive behaviour that we've come to understand is his way, do you see that now when you look back?
I see it looking back, 2020 is hindsight, but because I was so young, I didn't realise it at the time. So for me, it was just normal. It was my first serious relationship, so I didn't have anything to compare it to. But yeah, looking back, there's definitely things. It was all very much about him and how he wanted, and you just had this inkling that if you didn't do things the way he wanted it, there'd be consequences. So you'd change your behaviour in order to please him, without him having to say you have to.
It was a very controlling relationship for both you and Victoria,
Yeah,
actually. I think she had the same thing, because Maddie, she was reporting to you and she wasn't being completely honest at all times, I don't think. And he'd actually attempted to kill her before.
He had. It's quite convoluted how we ended up there, but once we'd spoken to her on a video previously, and she'd given us an outline of their relationship. When I arrested him, my colleagues then had to go and tell her that he wasn't coming home. He was being bailed away from the home. And at that point, she told them about a gas leak the week prior to the parachute incident, which it transpired he'd also done to try and kill her.
And didn't he say he try putting the cooker on? I mean, he was
encouraging her.
He really was.
He was. So she had messaged him at work and said, I think there's a gas leak, and he said, have you tried the stove? Well, she hadn't, thankfully.
But you described her as a hostile witness as well. Can you just explain what that means to sort of the layman?
So when we had two trials. In the first trial, she was a witness, and when she came up onto the stand, she then started to change the story that she had told us originally. She said that he had not been... So he had taken her parachute to the toilet, and we believe that's when he had tampered with it. And she started to say that he had not been in the toilet for as long as she claimed initially, that she was gunning for him. We just told her that he was having an affair, and he was denying... paternity of their son. So she was gunning for him. And she then said that, in actual fact, she thinks she cut away a good parachute, and that she, it didn't fail. She cut it away because she had panicked.
I mean, years later, now, when she's reflecting on this and the trial in the documentary, she's more honest about how she sees things. But back then, she was clearly still caught in this spell, this coercive control that he had over her was so compelling.
It's certainly, when we analysed the situation, we deemed that she was in a coercive, controlling relationship. And he had the strongest hold over anybody I have ever come across.
I wonder, Nicoline, how you feel. I mean, what he ended up doing to you is he ended up deciding, as you said, it was all about him. You're pregnant, you had a child. He decides he's going to move to England because that's what he wants to do. And then he ends up marrying someone, even though you were engaged and you only heard about. I mean, it's extraordinary what he put you through. You then come to England, you sort of get back together with him. All these years later, when you see what happened to Victoria, I wonder how you feel looking at the relationship from the outside, from your perspective.
Looking at their relationship.
Yeah, and what you went through, and perhaps how lucky you were that you weren't in that situation.
I dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of parallels between mine and Victoria's relationship with him, with certain things that he did, like denying paternity of a child, cheating all the time, those kind of things. Some that I probably would never even know about. I feel lucky.
Have you ever connected with Victoria? Have you ever been able to speak to her?
I would love to, but no, I haven't.
Because there will be some shared sort of, I don't know, experience that the two of you together might be able to help each other through what you went through. Because I'd imagine, Maddie, that is the thing. It's like this experience, the reality of it, the headlines, the story.
Yes.
It's something that will stay with all of you that have been under his spell.
Oh, 100%. I think in many different ways it affected us all.
And you identified with it very strongly, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. I was in a fairly dysfunctional relationship at the time and could identify with Victoria and what she was going through at that time. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it has affected a lot of us in many different ways. And I think mentally it would take Victoria a while to get through that. Physically she may have healed, but I think mentally, you know, it's like we say in the docudrama, you carry the scars with you.
Absolutely. Well, it's absolutely intriguing. It's gripping. You can't stop watching it. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning and for telling your stories. The full Skydive murder plot is on Tuesday. That's tomorrow at 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much.
And if you've been affected by any of the topics that we've been discussing in this item, you can head to our website where there are helplines that I'm sure will be able to help.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
We are highlighting an issue that's very close to our hearts here at This Morning.
Yeah, so last month, a 12-year-old girl with a peanut allergy was reportedly thrown off a plane with her family after airline staff refused to make an announcement requesting passengers refrain from eating nuts.
Legally, passengers can eat and even purchase nuts on planes, despite peanut allergies affecting 2% of children.
Yeah. So to highlight the issue, we're joined by campaigners Nadim, Ednan Laperouse and Lindsay Bowers, who both know firsthand the various serious consequences of overlooking severe food allergies, alongside Professor Adam Fox, who's a leading expert in paediatrician allergies as well. Nadim, thank you so much for joining us, all of you. I don't want to go over or make you retell the story too much, but can you tell us briefly about Natasha and the terrible circumstance?
Yes, so my daughter Natasha, she was allergic to a number of foods, including sesame seeds. And back in summer of 2016, when I was going on a short holiday with her and a friend, taking a flight from Heathrow to south of France, we bought a sandwich for her in the Heathrow Terminal 5, and it looked perfectly fine to eat, and the ingredients had no mention of sesame, to which she was allergic. But she ate the sandwich just before boarding. 2-hour flight, and about halfway through, she was really, really unwell and had a serious anaphylactic reaction, which is a really powerful allergic reaction to something that she'd eaten. We weren't sure what, but very quickly the situation turned really bad mid-flight, and I injected her with 2 auto-injectors of adrenaline.
Did you have those with you?
Always, because people who are seriously food allergic know their circumstances, as do their families if they're children, and also carry always 2 of these devices, really, just in case. It's a good precaution. I used both of them, an adult dose. It made no difference whatsoever. She collapsed on the plane and went into cardiac arrest, and by the time the plane had landed, she was almost dead, and she was taken off the plane dead.
So sorry, Nadim.
No one wants to see their child in that situation. And the worst thing was her mum wasn't there either, was she?
No, my wife and her mother wasn't there. It was terrifying to have to make that call to her once we'd landed to give her the news, and she was back in London and she just collapsed. Yeah, very tragic situation.
Nadim, you've dedicated your life to raising awareness of food allergies. Can you tell us a little bit about Natasha's Law and what you wanted to do and what it's done?
Yes, so back in 2018, there was the inquest into the death of our daughter Natasha, and that brought certain things to light in the public domain. And Tanya and I, my wife and I, we realised immediately that there was a real threat to other people's lives here, because the coroner said explicitly that a loophole in the food laws was being used by large food companies, which basically meant they did not have to put the full ingredients on food products that were packaged. They could write whatever they liked. Some of the ingredients, none of them partial ingredients. And of course, for food allergic people who really rely on labels and ingredients to see what's in the food, to make a decision for themselves, the right one, that is a very, very dangerous situation. And so we campaigned very quickly, started campaigning, meeting various government ministers and so forth, to make a change in the law, the food law, to close that loophole, to stop big food businesses basically getting away with, well, potentially very tragic situations for millions of other food allergic people in the UK. And that law passed through Parliament in 2019 and became effective 2 years later across the UK, and has made a huge difference to millions of people.
Of course, yeah.
It's unbelievable. We're going to move on to Lindsay now. Morning, Lindsay.
Good morning.
We know you very well because obviously you've worked here at This Morning, and someone who we absolutely adore, Amy May, who you were really close friends with, weren't you, here when you worked here at This Morning? Tell us a little bit about Amy.
She was my best friend here, and she lit up a room and she walked into it. Everyone knew her. She dressed fabulously. She had amazing hair and makeup at all times. And while we worked here together, we were both two blonde, bubbly girls from Essex. And we just became really, really good friends really fast, and just spent a lot of time having a massive laugh, basically.
And Amy's circumstance was that she was she was away in Hungary, wasn't she? And she even had
cards
Yeah.
to say that she was allergic to.
Yeah, she went to Budapest on a girls' trip and had cards in Hungarian saying I have a serious allergy. And unfortunately, she went to a restaurant and her food was contaminated and she had a catastrophic reaction. Her brain was deprived of oxygen for 6 minutes. And she went into cardiac arrest, and she's now left severely brain damaged in a wheelchair.
And she has been on the show before, but she's in a situation now where she can't really come on the show. She can't come now.
Yeah, before she still had some kind of life in her. She would laugh, she would smile, she would show a lot of acknowledgement of the things you were telling her. But in December 2022, she started having a lot of seizures, repeatedly so, and she was on and off lots of different medication. And since then, she's just so depressed, so angry. The last couple of times I've been to see her, she's just not the same Amy.
Yeah.
You don't get the same belly laughs. And it's a lot bleaker now.
It's so sad. And how's her parents, Sue and Roger? How are they doing?
Not good. You know, Amy's their only daughter, and every time I see them, I can see just how much this affects them. Every birthday, every Christmas. Even, you know, if I have something going on in my life, I feel guilty for celebrating it because there's always that thought of Amy should be celebrating things in her life as well, and she can't.
We know they're watching today, and we send them all our love.
We do.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Amy May Trust and what the purpose and the goal is?
Yes, so the Amy May Trust was set up by her Aunt Julie and cousin Tom, and really it's to cover the immense costs of her therapies and her medical needs, because she's been through rehabilitation, she's had speech therapy, hydrotherapy, all sorts of things, just keeping her comfortable and happy. It costs an awful lot.
Oh. And obviously she's still very part of our family, isn't she, here This Morning? Also, let's go on to Professor Fox. How common are these nut allergies?
So nut allergies affect about 1 in 50 children. And many people will think, well, when I grew up, that it was really rare to be allergic to nuts, and it has become a lot more common. And certainly through the 2000s, we saw around a trebling of the number of people who suffer from nut allergies. So now most classrooms in any school, there'll be somebody with a nut or certainly a food allergy.
What's the best way of preventing them from happening?
There's a lot of exciting research over the last few years that suggests that if during early weaning of infants, the foods that you're at risk of becoming allergic to, so peanut, for example, are introduced without delay at all. So rather than putting off the introduction of them as weaning foods, including peanut butter, for example, sesame, egg, as weaning foods from as early as even 4 or 5 months, might reduce the risk of those allergies developing.
It's funny because my wife has a nut allergy, and which is easier said than done because she obviously can't wean our son onto peanut butter, but that's what we've done. We've tried to introduce it to him as early as possible.
This is all obviously thanks to the Natasha Trust while all this research is happening, isn't it?
Well, there are several really interesting studies going on, and Professor Adam Fox is referring to one of them that was done quite some years ago that produced results really that showed that if you early weaning of ordinarily allergenic foods, as you were describing, is beneficial. Natasha's foundation, the charity, the UK food charity, has been funding a £2.5 million clinical trial across 5 big hospitals in the United Kingdom to desensitise children and young people for their food allergies to peanuts and to cow's milk, which are probably the 2 worst allergens in the UK food system in society. And recently, there was some news that came out that was showing that although the trial isn't finished yet, and we really must wait for a trial to be finished to get a full, proper result, early indications show that children who are on the trial are really benefiting. And previously they couldn't eat any nuts or a fraction of a nut, and a matter of months later they're eating 6 peanuts a day. And that's without the use of any drugs or pharmaceuticals. It's actually using shop-bought foods to treat them, which is seems quite revolutionary, really.
Absolutely.
Should add, it's really important that people don't try to do that themselves at home.
Yeah.
It's important that that's done under very careful medical supervision.
Can we just quickly go through the signs of someone who's going through when they're in shock?
Well, most reactions will thankfully be mild. So the typical signs will be very quick after eating the food, itchiness around the mouth, swelling, hives, things like that. But even an early sign of a more severe reaction, so that would be persistent coughing, any sort of difficulty in breathing, change in voice, or any suggestion that your blood pressure's dropping, so dizziness, confusion, those are signs of a more severe allergic reaction. And the most important things to do then are make sure somebody's calling for help. If there's adrenaline available, so an EpiPen or a Jext, get on and give it. It's a very safe drug. There's no reason to delay. And if you're not sure if it's bad enough, give it anyway and ask questions after. And if it's not better within 5 minutes, give the next one that you've got. And also lie the patient down as well. If they're uncomfortable because it's hard for them to breathe, they can sit up, but don't stand them up or try to walk them around.
Why is that?
Because that will make the blood pressure drop even further. Right. And it's been shown from a number of studies that if you stay lying flat, that's your best chance, and even raising the legs, of keeping the blood pressure up during that critical time.
Do you raise the legs?
So you can raise the legs, but make the patient comfortable, but really lying down and not moving them around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Professor Fox, Lindsay and Nadine, thank you for joining us. And thanks so much. And once again, sending lots of love to Amy May watching at home.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, it's been 9 years since our next guests went on their first official date, a day that neither of them would ever forget.
Yeah, what was meant to be the dream date quickly turned into a nightmare for then teenagers Leah and Joe after a catastrophic roller coaster crash at Alton Towers. Left them with both life-changing injuries.
Yet, despite the tragic circumstance, their relationship overcame the odds, and they join us today, fresh from their honeymoon, with the happy news of their marriage.
Congratulations!
How was the honeymoon?
It was amazing.
Yeah, really good.
But it's not like the official honeymoon, really.
No.
That's like a mini moon.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But I have a mini moon, Babs.
I didn't know there was such a thing as a mini moon.
The mini moon, and then it gives you an excuse to say to all your friends and family, but we're going to go away on the big honeymoon later.
Yeah.
I love that. How was the wedding? How did it go?
Oh, it was amazing. everything and more that we could have asked for,
Yeah.
like 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Just everything
look
went
at
to
the
plan.
dress. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it's beautiful.
It does feel like I remember this story like it was yesterday. So it doesn't. 9 years is extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's flown,
Yeah, it's
honestly,
mad.
onto him.
Like, it does seem like it was yesterday, to be fair, but so much has obviously happened in between, and obviously now we're married.
I can't believe that fatal day, that awful day, was that was the first date that you were on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you even meet? How did it all even happen?
We had like mutual friends.
Yeah.
And then Joe started talking to me on Facebook, as they do.
And you were in?
just
As they do.
Yeah.
Well, the suitors hanging around there.
And then it just kind of went from there, didn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
We went
Pretty
out
much.
for like a couple of meals and went to the cinema and things,
Yeah.
and then went to Alton Towers.
Yeah, that was
and-
like his first like big outing
Yeah.
together, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first time you'd met now.
No.
No.
Obviously, we don't want to focus too much on the day because this is a day of this is a story of happiness and it's a story of incredible resolve and friendship.
Yeah.
But what do you remember afterwards, and how did the relationship then start to foster? After during your recovery.
I think it was difficult, to be fair. Like we've said numerous times, like if that had probably not happened, we might not have been together now.
Really? Why?
Because things just change and things just get in the way. Like we were both obviously going to uni, like would have been living separate cities. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Only time would have told, wouldn't it? But yeah.
It were very early days, and I was starting Leeds University in the September, so we would have been like miles away from each other. So I don't know if it would have stuck.
Did either of you get to university in the end?
Joe was at uni.
Yeah, I completed mine because I were a year ahead of Leah even starting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the accident 100% brought us closer together.
Yeah.
Like, we had nobody else that could relate to obviously what we were going through apart from each other.
Sure.
So it was kind of common ground.
When you were going through your recovery, did you actually speak to each other and phone each other and see how you were getting on?
Yeah, so after the accident, we were in the same hospital. So I used to go up and visit him in his bed, and he used to pop down and see me. And
So that's your courtship period.
yeah, in hospital.
You're like, we're waking up going, it was here again.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
We had,
it was
like,
so
Chinese,
weird. Yeah, it was like, but it was so awkward. Like, it was so weird because we were literally starting it fresh, but surrounded by obviously press, parents. Like, it weren't natural.
Physio,
It was
appointments.
strange.
So when did it become natural? Because obviously there would have been a friendship there. You would have been bound by this terrible event that happened to you. So, but when did it? You obviously had feelings for each other, but when did it sort of develop into we're just kind of dating now normally?
Yeah.
Probably about 6 months into it, like
Yeah.
after the accident, because like you weren't driving, we couldn't do
No.
anything on his own. It were just literally us and his parents in wheelchairs, trying to do his best.
Sure.
So until we had that independence, were probably when it started to become more of a
and then we
relationship.
could just kind of start fresh, really.
It's unbelievable because obviously you lost your left leg, so you was
Yeah.
in a wheelchair. You had severed fingers.
Yeah.
So did you have to like learn how to push the wheelchair?
Yeah.
It must have been so difficult.
Yeah, it were. Like, obviously, both my kneecaps were shattered as well,
Yeah.
and then obviously my hand injuries as well. So I remember like us first like date that we went on when I'd first started driving, and we were
Where did you
pushing this
go?
wheelchair. I think it was like Yorkshire Wildlife
yeah,
Park
we
or
went to
something
Yorkshire
like
Wildlife
that. And Leah were like, "How are we going to manage with this wheelchair? Like, we've never done this before. What do we do?" But
We managed it.
yeah, it was sound.
It was
But
Did you find laughter quite early? Because of that.
You had to.
Yeah, right.
I think if you didn't laugh, you'd cry, because
Yeah.
your body, both his bodies had changed so much, and we were learning to like move on with these injuries. So if we didn't laugh, we'd have cried.
It's so true, so true. And I heard, Joe, you was a little bit emotional on the big day when she walked down the aisle.
Very emotional.
Didn't you warn him though? Say,
Yeah.
if you don't cry,
Yeah.
I'm going.
yeah.
Like if you're not crying when I walk down the aisle, I'm walking the other way.
Yeah. So really, we're all fake. I'd practice. No, I'm joking.
No, is it quite over? I suppose with your family there.
Yeah.
I suppose the whole situation is quite overwhelming, isn't it? In that
Yeah,
moment?
100%. Like, I knew as soon as she walked down, like, I knew her entrance song, I knew the minutes that she were coming in, the bridesmaids were coming in, because she'd practiced that many times. But it is, once you see your friends, your family, like, it just, a different emotion kind of just takes over you.
I think weddings are emotional anyway.
Yeah.
I love a wedding.
Yeah.
I do.
Did you ever almost feel like it was happening to someone else? It's an out-body experience, a wedding in many ways. isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when you get married.
We keep saying, like, we keep watching back videos and
Yeah.
stuff, and we're like, it just doesn't feel like it actually did happen.
No.
I just saw that clip there with all the glitter. How much glitter was there? Who did that glitter drop? That's like a Strictly glitter.
Yeah. We had two of his friends do confetti cannons.
Oh, it's so
on his
lovely.
first dance.
Yeah.
How did he propose?
In Venice. No, Venice.
Yeah. Smoothie.
On a gondola?
No.
No,
We'd
how
just
did he
been
do it?
on a gondola.
Yeah.
And then we were just taking pictures, weren't we, like, round Venice. And I had some pictures to take in some outfits. And we went down, like, it's an alley, but I don't want to call it an alley.
It sounds really seedy. It was like a quiet street.
It's the best line. Drag me down the alley and then...
Nice.
No,
But
it was just like a
Venice is full of,
quiet...
like, little street. We'll call it a little street.
Yeah.
Next to, like, the river. So
You know what,
really
I
nice.
wouldn't, never be presumptuous to say that we know you guys, but your energy is extraordinary and you are so inspirational to people because you look into the future.
Yeah.
You're not defined by what's happened to you.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
doing your thing.
We're very positive people, and I think we've definitely got the positive out of what's happened.
And you're doing a lot for the air ambulance for the
Yes,
Midlands, which is
yeah.
great, and Limbo as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So we've just started planning a big charity ball for next year,
Lovely.
as it's 10 years since the accident. So we're going to raise money for the Midlands Air Ambulance, Yorkshire Air Ambulance, and then Limbo Foundation.
Wow.
Yeah, what would you say to people? We interviewed Craig McKinley last week, so someone who's lost his limbs. What would you say to people that are going through what you've been through? At the start of that journey?
It's hard. It's very hard, but you've just got to keep going, and life does get better.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you both.
Thank you so much, Leah and Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
It always moves me so much when I hear him perform because he's just a young lad from East London.
Oh.
And he has a superpower with words. How are you?
Emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Just because we're here and this book is like, seeing you holding it, you're holding a piece of so many people's hearts.
Yeah.
And like, for me to be sat here, colour coordinated, obviously I got the memo with your bottoms and Ben's top. Like, I just feel like it's such a moment.
Yeah.
I'm 33, I've been writing since I was 15.
Yeah.
So it feels like my first day.
Well, and also, you've got some amazing people to contribute to the book. I mean, some, fair to middling as well.
Some are easier to get than others.
But you must feel an incredible sense of responsibility in order to get it right. And it's so important to so many people.
Yeah. And I'm incredibly thankful to everyone who trusted me because it's such a sensitive, delicate situation and responsibility is the right word. And I'm thankful to my family, my sisters and my dad and my nieces and nephews for understanding that I'm not around because this took so much from me.
So the essence of this book, you're saying you've written poetry in the past and Life is Sad and Beautiful was such an amazing book. But this is about, I wanted to quit too. This is about those moments that everybody has been through where you wanted to get their little sense of a moment in their life, despite how it might seem, where they've wanted to quit too. So you've spoken to actors and musicians and business people and influencers and leaders in industry. And it's an incredible anthology of their moments where they wanted to quit too.
Yeah, and it was accidental. This book was never part of a plan in life. But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Sinead Harnett, and led me to saying to her I wanted to quit. And we started talking about it. And I hate the title. I hate the title of it because of how real it is.
Yeah.
When I even say, a book's called I Wanted to Quit Too, it reminds me. But I should hate it. It should make me feel uncomfortable.
But I think that's why people identify with it so much, because of the title. It's that thing that draws people in. And, from you losing your mum and just talking about those little moments in time where she stays with you and those little bits of advice that she'd give you.
Yeah, she's amazing. And I feel like she'd be mad at me right now.
Why? Oh, your birthday. Is it the birthday she'd be angry about?
I got her birthday wrong in the book. On the third page.
On the third page?
Yeah, Uncle Larry Lamb pointed it out to me. I didn't know your mum was 70. I said, she's not Larry, she's 49. He said, well, why did you put she was born in 1947? And I'm like, I can't blame the editor on that one. It's my fault. But I felt like that's her reminding me, like, don't take this too seriously. And it's 7 years since she's passed, and I'm thankful, Mum, for all the lessons you taught me beyond your grave, because they don't leave you. They never leave you. They're with you, and You have to understand that. No one can tell you that. You have to understand that.
There's some as Kat said, there's some incredible people in this book, but there was an advert for the book as well that is voiced by someone extraordinary. We're going to play a little bit of the clip here. This is the advert for the book.
Guess who it is?
To be wise is to know great failure and victory, to have experienced all, and to have made every mistake in the book.
I wasn't sure who it was when you first played it.
Excuse me, you say Manuel. That's Tom Hardy voicing the
It is. I can't believe it myself. I can't believe it myself. I'm so blessed, so lucky, so fortunate to have met people. And they for some reason, trust me.
We do.
With their voice and their
also
words.
just having that chance at 14 when your teacher said to you, you go and do this poetry slam and do it, and believing in you.
He was like, you always got something to say, go say it there. And I was like, all right, I will. And then I walked into this room and people are performing and people are clicking and I'm like, oh, I want some clicks.
Yeah.
And then that changed my life. I entered a portal, like Narnia. I entered the wardrobe and I came out the other side and every day I feel like it's my first day at work.
Well, you've created an amazing book. Thank you so much. It's
Top 3
I wanted
Sunday
to
Times
quit
bestseller
too.
list.
It is out now. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's always magical to see you. In collar coordinated outfits as well.
We're going to carry on.
I got the memo.
Here's your weather.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
As far as true crime stories go, few captivate, like the saga of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a young woman from Missouri who persuaded her online boyfriend. Gypsy has been released and she'll be speaking exclusively to This Morning to reveal what life is like after lockup. Gypsy Rose, thank you for joining us on This Morning. What has life been like since your release in December?
Life has been a whirlwind. For the last 5 months, I've gone through a lot of changes in my everyday life, in my love life, home life. So the last 5 months have been quite an adjustment.
You know my story. Now let's see what I do with my life.
These last 5 months since Gypsy's release have been documented in a new series, Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup, set to broadcast from next week.
It showcases the emotions that I went through. It showcases the hardships, the joys, the little bit of everything, because people are getting to read how I've been doing online, right? But they're getting little bits and pieces of everything, and there's room for misunderstandings. With our show, people will be able to actually be a little fly on the wall and get to be as if they were in the room with me on a daily basis. And they'll be able to make their own assumptions of what all happened in these last 5 months instead of just reading here and there about it.
After your release, you've found a newfound fame. You're huge on TikTok. You're going to red carpet events. You've got your own show. You're hanging out with the Kardashians. Do you think it's right that you've taken your newfound fame so enthusiastically?
I wouldn't say enthusiastically. I think that this was sort of put on me before I even got out of prison. I think my story had reached a lot of people. And so I came out into society not really expecting the level of fame that was around me. And it's like, sharing my story was a very selfless thing that I feel like I'm doing, and there was never any intentions of wanting the fame aspect of it. As for the Kardashians, that was to talk about prison reform. So again, another selfless act that was not for any attention, but to highlight what prisoners go through on a daily basis. She and I are similar in the ways of labels get put on her, labels get put on me. And so to sort of see the woman behind the labels, I was actually surprised that she's so down to earth and relatable.
How are you finding the fame?
I try and shy away from it. Sometimes, on a daily, I'm kind of like, I just want to be normal. And I'm finding that, my life is not normal. And finding that little bit of normal in my everyday life is a challenge, and I treasure that.
What would you say to anybody that says, you know, you should never in a million years be getting this level of fame, you should never be hanging out with the Kardashians, and you certainly shouldn't be getting your own show? What would you say to any of those people?
This was not a choice. Like, this was something that was out of my control. What I chose to do is share my story and set the record straight going forward.
You went through the most horrific abuse, but why did you not expose your mum's lies to the police? Why did you take it as far as what you did?
Honestly, I didn't know the extent of the abuse myself. Some things were very obvious, like the physical abuse, but there was other things in the medical abuse side of it that if it wasn't very visual, like my mother said I had cancer. You can't see cancer. And my mother was telling people, myself and others that I was on cancer medication. So there was things like those little things that I didn't even know until upon arrest after the crime.
Have you got any regrets?
Oh yeah, I have lots of regrets, lots of things that I would change. Obviously the big one, that goes without saying, but that's on my conscience. I have to live with that on a daily basis. Yes, I did my time. I did 8.5 years, but that was a prison sentence. The emotional and mental regret that I have to live with goes for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Goodness me, what an extraordinary interview and what an extraordinary story as well. You can find out more about Gypsy's story in a documentary, Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup, which is going to start next Monday on the 10th of June, 9 p.m. on the Crime and Investigation channel.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. For all of that, we're meeting Gareth Jones to share his shocking story. Over the course of 9 months, Gareth was subjected to physical, emotional and financial abuse by his girlfriend, Sarah Rigby.
Earlier this month, she pleaded guilty to controlling and coercive behaviour, and she was given a 20-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. Gareth joins us now to share his story. Gareth, good morning to you. Thank you for coming in. It's a very difficult thing to have to relive this. It was a while ago for you to go through first time round, and I'm sure you've been able to piece back your life in terms of taking control of it personally. But we want to go back, because I know it's really important you share this story for lots of people who are out there. Tell us about when you first met Sarah, what that relationship was like.
Well, obviously we met firstly online, and I mean, to begin with, everything is just as you would expect. I think a normal relationship to go. You just get to know each other, what your likes, your dislikes, just general in terms of a general dating relationship, and you go on a couple of dates and everything seems to be just general to begin with, and just as if you were getting to know somebody, just as I suppose the online dating world is nowadays. It was very kind of overpowering, and when I look back at it now, I think they call it love bombing.
Yes.
So it was kind of very kind of affectionate, a lot of affection towards me, and you kind of think, oh, how can this person, that really is, these things are going to work, and I think, yeah.
Was it quite overwhelming, the amount of attention, the amount of affection that she was showering you with?
Yeah, definitely.
Not something you'd experienced previously?
No. I think it was because of that kind of overpowering side of things that you kind of get sucked into it all more and think, wow, things are going to work out here for the long run because it's so unbelievable, and so that overpowering side of love, I think, to begin.
And everybody wants it as well. You want things to work out. So when, for you, did you first kind of feel a bit of a red flag? Was there a catalyst moment where you were like, actually, this relationship feels a bit different, not quite right?
Well, we had a kind of argument around the end of the summer. Just a general argument where thought, okay, if things are not going to work out, they're not going to work out. So started then chatting to, went back online, started chatting to other people again, other girls, and then had a message to come back over. And then one morning, a message had pinged up from a girl on the phone, and she kicked me out of the house in my underwear.
So you'd in your eyes, your Sarah relationship had ended. You decided that wasn't going to work. You'd gone back onto the dating apps, Sarah then connected you again, contacted you and said, look, come back, let's try again. You'd gone back. Unbeknownst to you, the apps were still there, but you were just sort of, there was no intent there, and then a message pops up.
Yeah, and then obviously just obviously kicked me out in my underwear, and I'm left outside.
Right.
So I kind of thought, right, okay, well, maybe this is just it. And then I get a message a couple of days later from her saying, look, maybe I made a mistake. Let's try and sort things out. And then obviously back from there, things were fine again for the next few months.
So after she did that, Gareth, what made you go back again? What was it? Was it because you actually thought this could work, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think because when, and I suppose as I've learned now, is that people kind of look at these vulnerabilities in people, and because I think at the time I wanted to make the relationship work, and because I felt, that we did have things in common, that it could work. So
then you decided to move in quite quickly. You're living together then. When did it stop being irate about a message and throwing you out of the house in your underwear to the more coercive control? And what sort of things was she making you do?
So when I moved in, trying about the end of October, November time, it was I wasn't allowed a key. I had to pay back rent because she said, well, look, you've spent a few months here now after I moved out of my own property, so you've now got to pay me back rent and pay me rent going forwards. Then it became slowly the control of the finances. It became...
So just explain what you mean, control of the finances.
So she basically said, now you're living with me, you're the man, you are the earner, so it's your duty to give me money and for me to have control over that money. So
all of your finances?
So all of my finances, obviously not being given a key towards the house. I then was started slowly to get getting isolated from friends and family. There was obviously some physical abuse that came into things then as well.
How would that manifest itself? When would that happen?
So if she was having a bad day or things weren't going her way, then she would kind of take it out on me. So it was, things like not being able to sleep with the covers on, sleep on the floor with no duvet, with the windows open as kind of a punishment. So if things weren't going as she thought they would, then it was basically a retaliation onto me. Obviously, there was things like not being able to use the toilet in the house.
So she wouldn't let you use the toilet in the house?
No.
What was her explanation?
Her explanation was that she felt that males were not the cleanest. So, it was kind of, well, you're living with me now, so these are the rules, and this is how you're going to abide by if you want to stay with me.
At this point, because you just said before that she isolated you from your friends and from your family and kind of manipulated the situation, what was going through their minds? They must have been really quite worried about you.
I think definitely my parents saw it and see it. I mean, I had to make up a kind of a code with my mum. Yeah. So if she wasn't around, because if I ever had to use, because I had to obviously give up my phone as well, I could only make phone call conversations if she was in the room. I had to, whenever I was asked to give my phone, I had to have my phone demanded to be passed up. So it was difficult, but I think the thing is you feel, I mean, although people could say it from the outside, when you look at it from the inside, and I think the other thing is I was always told, this is just a phase. This we'll get over these things. It's just little blips. I've got other things that, are maybe not going so well for me at the moment.
This is what she would say. This was her explanation.
Justification.
But Gareth, you are a very sort of sane human being, that you work professionally, you've got friends and family. You're not being allowed to use the toilet. You're being forced to sleep on the floor if she's decided that you've done something wrong without covers. You weren't allowed to shower in the home either. She was making you pay rent, pay back rent, pay forward rent. She took control of all your finances. At what point did you not think this is not okay? That not being able to use the toilet, not being, being restricted in so many ways?
I think when it started escalating, so I think between about the period of November to maybe January time, and it really started, it was very subtle to begin with and then became very accelerated. Yeah. But she was always told, look, and this is what people say to me, look, you know, Gareth, why didn't you just leave there and then? But I was always told, well, if you try to leave, I will go to the police and I will say that you tried to, you know, assault me or even worse. And it was, who do you think the police are going to believe? Are they going to believe, you know, little old me or big old you? And I think, and that is the stigmatism that is out there in society, and why male, you know, it shows that it can and does happen to men.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the moment where you went, okay, enough is enough, I am leaving?
I think it was because I'd arranged, I knew she had an appointment to go to, and I'd arranged to meet my kind of mum in secret to go for a coffee for her.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to be back at the property at a certain time, because obviously I was also being made to miss meetings and being kicked out of the house periodically and being made to go to the library and other places or walk the streets to work. My mum had seen a message pop up on my phone where she'd said, had I taken a packet of crisps from the house? And I said, well, I just wanted to have a snack when I was out working. And basically, I had a message back that said a load of expletives and derogatory terms and abuse. And right, no, you know, you're definitely not eating again tonight. Even though I could only hardly eat a salad or anything like that anyway. And I think my mum just broke down in tears, and I thought, I can't put, you know, I think that was the realization, is I can't put my family through this. And the next day, I made a phone call to Mankind, to a male domestic abuse charity, and explained to them, you know, and they came back and said, yeah, these are all definite warning signs here of what's going on with domestic abuse, and you need to try and get out. And I knew that if I didn't do something drastic to get out when she was least expecting it, as I just said, I would be probably had up for worse when it was totally not the case.
Yeah, because she held that fear over you as well. So you found the courage to get out, to report this, and then it all went to court, and then she pled guilty. What was that experience, being in court and seeing her have to listen to what she'd done and then pleading guilty as well, Gail?
I think, I mean, there was a side point, because obviously she turned up to court with, you know, Harrods bag that I was forced to buy when I was in Harrods, some very expensive clothes that I was forced to buy or coerced into buying on a weekend away at London. And she turned up to court, and I think it was trying to still have that control and that manipulation. And I thought, no, I'm not going to have this. You know, I'm going to stand up on the stand and go through the evidence, and, you know, to see her plead guilty, I mean, I'm pleased in a way, because it vindicates and it shows, you know, and the amount of text messages and emails and things, everything that I had, the evidence to document it, because originally she tried to flip this all onto me. And you know, and the police even said they were believing that they thought it might have been me. But when you go that, and then...
Fortunately, you had the evidence to prove that wasn't the case.
To prove it was not the case completely.
And how do you feel about... So she got a 20 months sentence, but it's been suspended for 2 years, so it's not custodial unless she does something within those 2 years, then she will go to jail. A 5-year restraining order on, so she can't contact you as well. Do you feel like there's been any sort of justice served there?
I mean, I guess to a degree, but, and I mean, this, you know, for, like, coming on the show this morning, the overwhelming kind of public message that's come out there. I mean, like I said, I did not certainly expect it would reach as far as what it has. And I think from looking at the way the public has come back, that, yeah, and I do agree, maybe if it was a man, maybe the outcome would have been different. And I think that's what it seems to be coming back a lot from, and that public opinion, and that said, you know, that stigma out there of that this, you know, can and does happen to men. So, yeah, I mean, pleased that obviously that she did plead guilty, and it proves that these things can happen to males. But on the other side, I think the sentence doesn't really fit the crime.
Did she ever show any remorse?
No. I mean, afterwards, she contacted my place of work. She put pressure on my workplace, and, you know, fractured a lot of relationships I had in work to try and rebuild things, you know. And also just, I think it goes to show with the court, you know, actually when it got into court, wearing clothes, handbag, you know, accessories, things that she'd coerced me into buying. I think it just goes to prove that I don't think she'll ever, I'm not sure, you know.
She'll ever show any remorse.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for being brave and really kind of shining a light on this as well. Thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, and like I said, if I can help one other male out there and prove that this can and does happen, and to allow them to maybe to get out of a bad place, then this is all, you know, worthwhile doing it. So thank you very
100%.
much.
Have you found love again, Gareth? Have you started dating?
No, not yet, no. I think,
Easy, one step at a time.
But I think a time will come, but it's shown, you know, it's taken me a long time and I've had to go through therapy and everything, but I've got back to a stage now where my life is in a good place and hopefully I can move forward from here. So thank you very much.
I think you'd be a catch for anybody out there. You seem like a lovely person. Thank you for coming in and sharing your story. Good luck. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now, over the years, beauty pageants have often been criticised for being outdated or accused of setting unrealistic beauty standards.
Well, it doesn't get more unrealistic than this. The world's first ever AI beauty pageant, made up entirely of computer-generated women, or characters that are women, will take place later this month.
But before we discuss that further, here's a quick guide to what AI actually is. AI stands for artificial intelligence and is a fast-growing technology that enables computers to problem-solve and simulate human intelligence. It collects a massive amount of data, more data than a human could ever process, and responds based on what it learns. AI is already used in things like our phones and social media, so it can recommend things that we like. It can be used to write essays, drive cars, and even help doctors with medical treatments. It's so popular that around 1 in 6 UK organisations now embrace AI technology.
I genuinely believe that technologies like AI will bring a transformation as far-reaching as the Industrial Revolution, the coming of electricity, or the birth of the internet. But like those waves, it also brings new dangers and new fears.
AI does raise concerns, with people worried about it replacing human jobs, invading our privacy, or spreading misinformation. Despite this, AI is becoming a bigger part of our lives as the technology behind it becomes more and more advanced.
It's not going anywhere, is it?
No, nowhere at all.
The 10 finalists for Miss AI have been announced today. So one of the judges, Sally Ann Fawcett, joins us now alongside technology reporter Will Guyatt to discuss how we feel about this. Sally Ann, first of all, let's start with you because you've been a competitor within beauty pageants.
Indeed, in the 80s, yeah.
In the 80s, you've been a judge in beauty pageants as well.
So I've judged Miss Great Britain.
So you're passionate about the history of beauty pageants. This seems like a step in another direction, but one you felt compelled to be a part of.
Well, when the FanView World AI Creator Awards approached me and said you would be the perfect judge, I mean, I too had doubt. I thought, well, what is this? But when I looked into it more, there are so many perceptions of AI women as being hypersexualised, impossibly beautiful. And we thought if we could choose an ambassador, a role model that women and young girls could look up to and gain some really powerful messages from, I think that's a good thing because AI is not going to go away, as you said. And to have that platform, I think is probably a very good thing. Use it positively.
So can I just, sorry, Kat,
Yeah,
can I
go
just call
on.
you up? Because these are, I think, the finalists we've got here. I know you've got notes on the shortlist.
Yeah.
Hypersexualised is one thing, but you said impossibly beautiful. Every single one of those characters that has been created digitally is impossibly beautiful.
They are all beautiful.
Like, they're all literally impossibly beautiful. But they have no flaws, they have no wrinkles, there's one with a few freckles, but they are all impossibly beautiful.
In their own individual way?
In their own individual way.
Entirely my point and concern. Now, I find it very interesting that there's going to be this, this pageant, but young people already are struggling to work out what's real and what's not on the internet. Now, these will be clearly flagged, but if these are using generative AI techniques, they are trained on all kinds of hundreds and thousands and millions of images from magazines, probably including those ones that are airbrushed beyond your wildest dreams. So in my mind, you're starting from an unrealistic place. Now, I think AI is here to stay. I think there is a huge conversation to have about this. But for me, I don't feel this is really a long-term solution. I feel it's a it's got attention because it's got the word AI in it.
Gimmicky.
But I think I judge modern-day beauty pageants, and it's not just about the physical beauty. It's about the inner beauty. It's about the message that they're portraying. It's about the whole person. And obviously, these are not real women, but they all convey a certain message that I think people can relate to. That
So
women
can we talk about that? The top left-hand character there, Do you know which one that is?
Kenza.
That's Kenza. Will you tell us a little bit about Kenza?
She's got a following of 190,000. And I know it's amazing, isn't it? And she promotes women's rights in Morocco, where she was created, and female empowerment. And I think that, sometimes people can relate to a character like this. Do you remember in the 70s when they had cartoon characters doing road safety and safety awareness and things like that? They really related to them.
There's an interesting point there, Will, isn't there? That actually Kenza, in an environment where she's promoting empowering women in Morocco and the Middle East, that all sounds very admirable.
She's also commercially advertising sun cream as well. So there is money going to the hands of whoever is in control of Kenza, and that's the influencer. Why get somebody from Made in Essex when you can create your own talent that's going to answer the phone, it's going to always post the pictures on time? So there is an element, and I'm excited about the element of where everyday users pick this up and go, hey, let's have a go with the technology and play with it. But I'm also a bit more cynical, and I know that there'll be ad agencies and companies creating these unrealistic women to sell more product, to get more ad deals. That's all influencers, well, not all the influencers use, but many influencers use social media for commercial purposes. This is purely cutting out the celebrity.
Because also, Will, you're saying that by having these made-up women as role models, this could be problematic.
I'm probably not the person to talk about that, but I have a young daughter.
Yeah.
And my young daughter already says, oh, I want to look like that princess, or I want to look like this, or I want to look like that. And my prime concern is if we're already having problems with young people struggling with their understanding and perception of what beauty is, if you're then creating it through artificial intelligence and other technology. And for me, the thing about artificial intelligence is it's so wide a field. It's everything from life-saving cancer treatment through to shoving John Lennon back into another Beatles song. And we need to get a bit more dialogue and discussion about how it's going to impact people, because for every fear that it's going to steal your job, my dad has just been diagnosed with cancer this morning. And I know that previously, for this technology, there'll be better technology for detection of cancer for people like my dad. And my partner, who has a rare kind of breast cancer, she got it a year ago. 6 months after that, they were able to detect that cancer years earlier because of new advances in AI. Yeah. So there's lots to be said, and I'm worried that if we do too many gimmicky things with AI, everybody will turn off, and this morning I'm going to go, oh no, we've done 2 AI stories this month. We're not interested in talking about this really important advance in science.
But I mean, to be fair, I understand what you say, and I think you've got to make a very good point, but this isn't gimmicky. There are AI women all over the internet, all over social media, and it's not just about the looks, it's about the message that they give. When we're judging...
It starts with the looks, though, Sally-Ann, does it not?
But it doesn't.
I mean, there is not one of those AI-created characters there isn't what you would class as unbelievably beautiful.
I think they're not... Some of them are not stereotypically beautiful. We think of AI women as being these, impossibly hypersexualised with tiny waists and what have you, but you have to have a really good... It's like in pageants. You're going to have a good-looking winner, but they have to be an all-round person. They have to have a message.
But they're not real people. There's somebody in a studio who has ticked the 5 boxes to, they save the ocean. They want to talk about the environment. They've been given... The AI hasn't decided what this personality is. This has been created.
But the creators decided. It's their reflection.
But we then get into a whole different argument over what's real and what's not. And I know that the organisers behind this, and it's fantastic, are going to put on a music awards, do all sorts of really cool things. But imagine if you're a jobbing musician, you're not going to be able to get any appearances anymore because Elvis is suddenly recording a song about the weather in Bristol. It's just like, this is the way this technology is going to go if we don't have a better control and a better conversation about it.
Can I ask Sally-Ann, why is there no men? Why is it all female-generated characters?
Apparently, there were some men. What you mean, the actual
in the shortlist.
There were some men in the shortlist, and actually in the pipeline, there's going to be a male equivalent. There's going to be a male one as well. So everyone's going to be represented. But what I'd like to say is that quite a few of these contestants are created by all-female teams. They're not just men in their bedrooms with their curtains drawn, that sort of thing. So it's.
That's a really bad stereotype, by the way.
There is that concern.
Respect.
Lily's been in touch saying, I can appreciate the use of AI models in countries where it's too dangerous for women to speak up, but the beauty factor really distresses me. How am I supposed to hear an ideal message when the beauty element adheres to old-fashioned ideas of what women should look like? Stephen says this is fast, this AI. It's not a good look for young women and girls. It's just going to lead to more teens feeling not good enough. Ellie says... There's so many real-life examples of diverse women that young girls can look up to. There's literally no need to create fantastical fake versions that caricature their achievements.
But they are being created regardless of this pageant or not. That is the way of the world, you know. And if they can give some support and some comfort and some good messages to young girls for them to follow, I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest with you. They could be following a lot worse.
It is a fascinating subject, the subject of AI particularly, Will. I'm with you. You want to make sure that you can concentrate on all those bits as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Amazing stuff. Congratulations, Sydney.
Thank you so much.
I imagine it probably still feels a little surreal.
Not over it.
No.
It hasn't sunk in. What is my life?
Oh, it's so exciting. Do you remember anything about that moment when they said your name? Because we were talking this morning, they take it down from 11. Like, it's a big moment on the show. I was watching it last night.
That was hideous.
Do you remember?
That was the most scariest thing ever. I was just shaking.
Yeah.
When we all was. Me and Alex were just looking at each other and was like, this is terrible. This is terrible. It's like torture.
But we lost one actor at a time.
I know.
And then at the very end, it got to the two of you. Do you remember anything about that moment at all?
Not really. Not really. I just remember just shutting my eyes and then just punching the air. Like I'd, scored a try at a rugby match. I just couldn't believe my life.
It was an extraordinary show. I think Simon described it as the best Britain's Got Talent final ever.
Oh, my God.
Honestly, sitting at home and watching every single one of the acts that got through to the final was just brilliant and completely compelling.
They were amazing. And the best people as well. I've had so much fun. We have had a cracking laugh.
Yeah.
Seriously. And they are so good. Because I was last. I was like, no, why am I last? I was like, I've got to sit through it. So I was pacing.
Were you watching it or were you trying to take yourself away from all of that?
I was watching it. I was clapping. I went in to watch Innocent. Absolutely amazing. Made me sob. Like, to get my makeup sorted out, I was like, how am I going to go on now? It was so good. Everyone was amazing.
How are the nans doing as well? Are they basking in the glory? Slightly. I'm imagining that they're loving it.
Oh, my God, they're so proud.
Of course.
They are so proud. I'm so happy that they've been on this journey with me.
Yeah.
How lucky am I to say that?
They'll turn around and say, how lucky are they to have you as their grandkids. When it came to choosing the song for the final, though, I mean, in terms of choosing that song, making sure that was the song you went for, did you have other ones that you were toying with?
It's so difficult because all my efforts went into my way to try and make that the way that it was, and because we created it. And then, really lucky, got through to the final. And then you have 3 days to whip up a song.
Yes.
And BGT helped me, and when they said that version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I was like, I can't do that, because that's Lauren Ulred's version, and she's my idol. Like, I was like, please, I was like, do not get me to sing this song. And then obviously you put your own kiss on it and your own way. And Lauren was so supportive. I got a video from Lauren and I sobbed.
Oh my days.
I couldn't. This is a ride that I don't want to get off of. Seriously, I'm so thrilled with my life right now. I can't believe it.
And it's just the beginning. Like, this is where the journey starts. Like, have you thought about the Royal Variety performance and performing for the King and
That's amazing. I just want to shake. I just can't believe it. I can't wait. I can't wait, and I'm just so thankful that everyone sees something in me.
Oh, and then some. Do you know when rehearsals or planning for the Royal Variety begins?
I know nothing.
You know nothing?
Don't know anything.
You're still in a bit of a daze.
Yeah.
What about other stuff, though, since you've started this, Sydney? Have you been... Because I know your ultimate goal was always to be in the West End.
Yep.
You've come close. You've done some professional shows along the way here and there, but you've been working as a receptionist. But the chance to do it full-time, have you had any interest from any West End producers or any agents saying, do you know what?
Yep, I've had some interest from some really good agencies, and then it's just picking which one's right for you. But I think I'm hell-bent on an agency, just sorting things out, which is so so exciting. And the people that are on their books, I just look at this page and I'm like, am I worthy enough to be on this page of these people? But these people that I have grew up watching, which
Inspired
is...
to be alongside.
It's miracle.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, that's the dream and that's the goal. That's what you want to do. But £250,000
Oh, by the way,
well.
is it in the bank account yet? Have you checked? Did you go to the cash point last night and just put your card in to see? That's the first thing I would have done. Where's the money? Come on.
I still can't. It's sort of like it's not even about the money because this is just amazing. But
well, you haven't seen it in your bank account yet.
No, you sort of can't believe it.
What have you got? Have you got an idea in what you might? What's the first thing you're going to spend some of the money on?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Not a clue. I loved my singing coach on BGT, Annabelle Williams. She was amazing and got me through that. And I said to her, I was like, I can now afford you once a week. So I said that to her.
So the first thing is booking a load of lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. She's made me, in like 2 months, a better singer than I did when I went to college for 3 years. Do you know, like, she's just amazing and I just love her.
How did you celebrate last night?
Weatherspoons.
You went to you found the closest spoons you could find.
Yes, we needed a pint and we needed it now.
And a cheap pint at that as well.
Absolutely.
You could have gone anywhere more exclusive, but was that the closest pub to the theatre?
Yeah.
Cold and wet.
I love Weatherspoons.
Yeah, who doesn't love a spoon?
Absolutely. It was
There's
amazing.
a reason why they're so popular.
Yeah.
So what happens now, do you know?
Not a clue, and that's the exciting bit about it. And I'm so ready to just throw myself into whatever opportunities there for me that'll have me.
Well, all we've got to say is buckle up because we think you've got very big things coming your way.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Have you handed in your notice at the gym yet?
My manager messaged me this morning and was like, oh, I guess I should put your shifts on the rota for other people to get cover.
Oh.
Bless her. I was supposed to go back into work on Tuesday, but I was like, probably, if that's all right.
Yeah, revel in the
Ready
moment.
to cover if you needed.
Of course, yeah.
Well, look, soak up every single moment of it. You've not been home yet. You're going home after this.
Yes.
So you catch up with the rest of the family and all your friends as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real celebration.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
Our pleasure.
Well done. Enjoy
Thank you for
every
keeping us
minute.
entertained. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Thanks, Sydney.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Earlier this week, we discussed a heartwarming moment between Rylan and a fan named Ewan with Alzheimer's, which captured the internet, if not the nation's attention. Take a look at this.
Tell us about your relationship with Rylan, your mate.
What do you want to know?
Anything. When did you last see him?
Actually, he was in our house not so long ago.
Anyway, he said he couldn't get hold of you. He just sent me that message to show you.
It's your mate, Rylan.
Shall I send it to you?
I hope you're well. Sorry I ain't seen you for a little while, but I hope you're good, and I look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Lots of love, and we'll grab a beer.
I'll see you again soon.
Well, as we continue our Defying Dementia campaign, we're joined now by Ewan's daughter, Julia, alongside Shan Welby, who has a personal connection to this topic, with her father also battling the disease. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us. I know this is such a lovely story. I mean, it's a sad story, but a lovely story at the same time. So your dad, Julia, he does think he's best mates with our Rylan, doesn't he?
He does. He always talks about Rylan. He's got a few, but Rylan's the favourite. And he just will say things like, you know, oh, Rylan's a good old mate of mine, I can get hold of him, this kind of thing. It's kind of a random link. I guess it's from, like, seeing him on TV or, you know, newspapers and that sort of thing. And he also thinks Harry Styles and Fred from First Dates is his friend.
He's got good company.
Yeah.
He's keeping it, keeping it classy. He's keeping it A-list. We like that.
Exactly, yes.
So where did his symptoms first start to develop, and how quick was that?
I think I started noticing it about 10 years ago, and then he was diagnosed 8 years ago, just through, you know, forgetting names and just getting very confused with things.
So that would have been late 60s, because he's 79 now, isn't he?
Yes, he is, yeah. And sort of the last few years, it's progressed quite quickly.
What's this kind of stuff you started noticing quite early?
Just, you know, if you'd ask him to do something, he'd get confused, you know, very difficult to hold a conversation. You know, he'd... Just basic tasks, really, he struggles with now. And it's really challenging because my mum's his full-time carer now, pretty much, and he can't really do anything on his own. So yeah, the last few years it's progressed quite a bit.
Yeah, and you're a comedian as well, Julia.
I am.
Yeah, so you go round, and I suppose you know sometimes you try and find the comedy in things.
Exactly.
You try and deal with things, don't you? It's like a protection, really.
Because I do that as sort of a job. I found that you can find humour in anything, really, and I sort of in life kind of try and make lols out of lemons. And I think in something like this, which is really serious and challenging, if I can bring some light and humour to it, you know, my dad's still got a sense of humour, even though he's lost a lot of other things. So it's just something that we connect on.
And so you filmed a video of your dad saying that he thought that Rylan was his best mate. And then you popped that online.
I put it on my stories, tagged Rylan, and I saw that Rylan reshared it. And then I just reached out and said, hi, you know, my dad loves you. Any chance you'd say hi? And then he very kindly sent that lovely video over. So that's sort of how that all came about. Yeah.
Oh,
so thanks, Rylan.
How nice is Rylan?
What I love is the fact your dad was like, yeah, of course he's my mate. So, and, like, the rest of us were like, isn't that a lovely moment? Your dad thought, well, he's my friend, so of course he's going to send me a message. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, it's the little thumbs up as well, like, you're right, mate.
Yeah, so sweet.
And has he got any other mates? Like, so is Rylan Fred?
So he thinks that he taught Fred from First Dates how to swim. I'm not sure where that sort of confusion comes in, but we always just go along with it, because I think at the beginning we'd kind of maybe say like, oh, you know, and I think that just confuses them more, you know, if you kind of correct them. So I always say not to correct people, really.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think that there is this whole thing of, at the beginning, because especially when you don't realise they've got dementia or Alzheimer's yet, you do start correcting them, and then it gets more and more confusing. So when I saw that video, I totally related to my dad, because I wouldn't correct him. He tells me all sorts of things that aren't true. I know that I bought him a jacket. He'll tell me he got it in Paris somewhere, and I just go, oh, did you?
Oh,
you know, and you just go along with it, because then the conversation can carry on, can't it?
Otherwise it's be very still.
Does that... Yeah, but on a practical level, the conversation carry on. But in terms of how, like, your fathers see the world, does that then... Do you think that then affirms they're like, oh, OK, no, I'm doing good. I'm feeling, like, pretty good about the world that I'm living in now, as opposed to if you're constantly correcting, do you see that sort of irritation?
Oh, definitely, yeah. They would get very frustrated and, you know, they try and sort of... you know, when they can't pinpoint what they're trying to say, I can see that he gets very frustrated. So I just think just go along with it. It's like you said, keeps the energy flowing. And...
Yeah, I think there could be the odd thing you might pick them up on if he doesn't feel to... And then sometimes I go, oh, yes, Dad, you said that. And you'll go, oh, I did, didn't I? And that's OK, I think. I think it's a mixture of that nice balance so they don't feel embarrassed. I think there's a lot of shame, isn't there? Because there are moments when they're really aware that they're A, repeating themselves or B, not making sense. And it's a bit of pride that you don't want them to lose.
Yeah.
So you sort of keep that going, and then normally the conversation moves on anyway, and then you're like, everyone feels involved, don't they?
100%.
How is your dad, Shan? Is he all right?
He's doing so well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's weird, isn't it? Because when you find out they get dementia, it's normally a lot later than probably when it started. And we were just saying, you know, we were chatting away, saying that we get frustrated with our dads before we knew that they had Alzheimer's or dementia, because they would just do silly things, or you'd ask them to do a simple task that you thought, you know, oh, Dad, do you mind getting this from the shops or whatever? And they'd just totally forget. And then you start realising, oh, I reckon he had it a lot longer. You know, my dad only got diagnosed sort of after COVID, really. Right. So it was late.
I mean, you know, both your approaches just seem so kind of like fulfilling and life-affirming. So what advice would you give to people that are just watching us who might have just had that diagnosis in their family?
Well, we find that music really, really helps. It's something that triggers my dad really positively. So we do lots of dancing together, and I think anything that's sort of familiar to them, you know, from the past really helps. And just like you said, just going along with things, trying to keep the energy light, and also just to give support to the full-time carers, because it's really challenging.
Sure.
And his dog how does his dog help him? Because I know that you think like Fred and Ryland are his best mates, but really his dog's his best mate.
The dog's the best mate. Yeah, his dog Stevie, he absolutely adores him. So he still takes him for little walks and takes him to the pub and that sort of thing, and that's really lovely.
Well, Julia, we've actually got a little message from Ryland for you. We hope your dad's watching.
No, it's starting. You can't
stop. Here it is.
Hi, Jules. It's Rylan. I hope you're well. I just wanted to say thank you for your message the other day. When I saw that message, it was just one of those that I couldn't scroll past. So, sending that little video to your dad and seeing how happy it made him made me very happy. I didn't realise it was going to be such a big thing like this, but yeah, I couldn't skip that message. I want to send all my love to you and your dad and your family, and I hope he holds me to that. We will go for a beer at some point when he's feeling up to it. So I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I look forward to meeting you all at some point. Sending lots of love as always.
Oh, so nice. And the thing is, what you don't know is Ryan now will become a friend of your dad.
Yeah.
You'll be like, it'll get to the point where like, is he coming around again?
I love it. As long as I can join for the beer, let's sort it out.
Julia, Shan, thanks for sharing
Thank
your
you.
stories, because that would have helped so many people. And then you, and I hope you're watching. Little message from Ryland for you there. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Now, it's estimated that in the UK, more than half of us will develop a heart condition in our lifetime.
Whilst keeping active can reduce your risk, anyone can find themselves with a heart problem and in need of life-saving assistance.
Yeah, as former professional footballers Graham Souness and Glenn Hoddle never expected the hearts to let them down, but that's exactly what happened, and they're here now to share their stories with us. Morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
So good to see you.
I mean, two sport. I mean, I'm excited that you two are on the sofa.
Legends.
Did you two play against each other that often?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Is that why you're sat quite far apart?
Let me get my bruises out. I'll just show you my bruises. Let me tell you, there's a guy coming on later that broke 7 of his ribs. I tried many times to break his ribs. I never achieved that.
But you two are so iconic. Like, so this week I went to go and see Boys from the Back stuff, the National Theatre, and you get a mention because you're off the use.
I starred in it for 15 seconds.
You did,
I remember it.
Shall I just go through some of the things that they've done? Graham, let's start with you. You captained Liverpool FC, made 176 league appearances, won 5 First Division titles, 3 European Cup trophies, and you captained your national team of Scotland. Amazing. Glenn? You made 490 appearances with Tottenham Hotspurs, where you won back-to-back FA Cup titles in 1981, 1982, and went on to represent England 53 times, including 2 World Cups, and would cap your England career at teams manager between 1996 and 1999. Wow. What careers?
What careers? But also, you keep in great shape after you retire, and yet we are here talking about your hearts. So, Graham, let's start with you, because I never forget when I heard you had a bypass, because you were so young, and it was the first time we'd really heard about a fit sportsman having like heart issues.
I was diagnosed with having 3 arteries that were severely blocked. I'm Scottish. Celtic people unfortunately suffer from coronary artery disease more than any other, certainly in Britain, anyone else. It was a shock to me.
So was this running in the family history?
Yeah, I had 2 uncles died in their 30s. My father had the operation when he was 72. But it was still a shock at 38. You know, I'm 30, I was manager of Liverpool. I was doing everything the players were doing, except playing on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I actually had the bug of, when I finished playing, I couldn't stay out of a gym. You know, I was going in the gym sometimes three times a day, if not 3, certainly twice a day.
Yeah.
So for me to be diagnosed with that was a shock. And this is a really scary part. For anyone watching this who may run marathons, who play squash or paddle tennis or are really, really fit, go to the gym every day, there could be something going on in your body that you need to get looked at. Family history is a big indicator. High blood pressure, cholesterol levels, they're things you must get checked out. I mean, you have a young lady working here who I spoke to her 2 days about what we're going to say today on what we're going to talk about. Her father runs marathons. He's been diagnosed with a dangerous level of the wrong cholesterol. So you've got to get it checked out, even if you think you're super fit.
Did you feel any when you were?
No,
you didn't know symptoms
no
at all?
signs.
Nothing.
So you just went to the doctor to get a checkup because you knew it was in the.
I was struggling to sleep.
Yeah.
Went for ECG. Nothing to worry about. They said there's a couple of signals that are maybe whatever it might be, something you've got going on in your life. And then I went for an ECG on a treadmill.
Yeah.
And I think it's called the Bruce Protocol. It's 21 minutes. I got up to about 17 minutes, 18 minutes, which no one does unless you're super, super fit. He said, there's some signals, but the only other thing you can do is have an angiogram with going at the groin. But if it was me, I wouldn't bother. So a month went by, I decided to go for it. And I was diagnosed with having 3 arteries that were blocked and needed operating on.
Glenn, your story is like almost totally different because you're into retirement, keeping fit. and out of nowhere, you have cardiac arrest. And cardiac is, like you were just saying in the break, very different to having a heart attack.
I didn't know that at the time, to be honest. I thought a heart attack was a heart attack, but a cardiac arrest is almost like your electrics failing, and a heart attack is your plumbing, if you like. That's what the surgeon told me, to simplify it. But again, like Graham, I had no idea. I think a cardiac arrest is, it doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, look, I'm coming. I didn't feel anything. So it could happen to anyone here on this floor. I was actually in the BT studios when it happened. I was very, very lucky because you have to, with a cardiac arrest, you have to be there within 3 minutes. If not, doing CPR. If not, you're in big, big trouble. You know, every minute that goes by, you're going to lose 10% of your life. And if it's not done quickly... I mean, the defibrillators are very, very important. Yes, they are. But the CPR is what's needed instantly, and that's what I got from Simon, who's going to join us later.
Yes, let's talk about Simon, because you would not be here if it wasn't for this man. Simon, coming in, because he's a sound engineer, and he was actually working the day that you were there. I think you were doing... weren't you? It was your birthday, first of all.
It was my birthday, so, as I say, what a gift this man gave me.
Oh.
What a gift on my birthday.
You weren't supposed to be working, were you?
To save me life. I wasn't meant to be working. I was meant to be with my kids and my grandchildren, having a little party, you know, on that day.
Yeah.
And last minute, we changed the date. They asked me to go in on the Saturday for some reason. And if my kids had said, no, we can't do it, Dad, we changed the date. We did it on the Friday instead of the Saturday, and I was actually where Simon was.
Simon, you're a familiar face here at ITV. So you were working as a sound engineer then. The miracle for me is you weren't in the catering tent, which is like if you're a sound engineer.
It's usually cameras.
As soon as you go on telly, you're like, you guys did that right. So tell us what you remember from that day. What were you doing?
I mean, I can remember the day vividly, exactly as it happened. We'd just done a live programme. Glenn was one of the guests. Glenn was playing football on the studio floor with Robbie Savage.
As you do.
As you do. We came off air at 12:30. I walked out the sound control room onto the studio floor. Glenn was still kicking a football around with Robbie. Went to kick the football, fell straight back, went into cardiac arrest. 5 minutes earlier, that would have been live on TV.
Do you know that straight away when you saw it because you're trained? Did you know what?
Robbie shouted for help. I ran over to help and quickly realised Glenn was seriously unwell. Did the usual checks. Glenn wasn't breathing. He had no pulse. And I rolled him onto his back, started doing CPR, shouted for an ambulance, a defib.
Wow, well done.
And then London Air ambulance.
By that time, I'm out. I've collapsed and unconscious. The next thing I knew, all this work that Simon did on me, I woke up in the hospital later that night.
Where did you learn how to do CPR, Simon?
So at the time, I was actually a volunteer special constable for Thames Valley Police. So every year we have to do first aid training. And I'd only done my refresher course about 2 months before Glenn had his cardiac arrest.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's one thing to know how to do CPR, it's another to step up and go, right, this is it now, we have to do it, because every minute counts, doesn't it?
Every minute matters, absolutely. And I don't think people should be afraid of doing CPR, because as we've said many times, if someone's having a cardiac arrest, you're not going to make them any worse.
Yeah, that's true.
And like Graham said, you broke 7 ribs, didn't you?
I broke 7 of
I've tried to do that many times. never got near them.
Actually, they're nearly healed up now.
It's just about, you know, taking action. Yeah. And if you talk to the ambulance service, they will talk you through how to do CPR.
This is a campaign we're involved in with the British Heart Foundation. The aim is to get 270,000 people to learn how to do CPR. Already we're at 35,000. That's after a month. So anyone watching this, please learn to do it. You can imagine the scenario. Don't imagine the scenario that you're maybe with a family member and they go down and you don't know what to do. And that time that you're hesitating, not every minute counts, every second counts.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You know, his story about getting into him and fiercely going after him with pressure and breaking his ribs, you know, he was dead. He ain't going to hurt him anymore. He was dead. So every second, it's not, we talk about every minute, but every second counts. And you can learn to do this in 15 minutes. Go to Google British Heart Foundation Reviver, and that'll take you through the process. All you need is a cushion to practice on.
Yeah.
And just listen to it carefully, and within 15 minutes, you could be in a position that further down the road, you could possibly save someone's life. It's so important.
There's 30,000 out of hospital cardiac arrests every single year, and currently only 1 in 10 survive. So having early CPR, yes, it's the chain of survival: CPR, defib, ambulance service, hospital. The hospital can't do anything if the patient doesn't make it there.
I feel like this should be learnt in schools.
Well, it is, yeah. There was we did a campaign soon after I came out of hospital. It was already on its way, but now it has been passed. And I think schools, Because kids remember, don't they?
Yeah.
It goes in and stays in.
Definitely.
They might not need it the year after they leave school, but in my word, at some stage, they might be able to. And you save someone's life.
And the British Heart Foundation are pushing this forward with the campaign at Wembley. Yeah. David Gilliland was there, Tom Lockyer, Glenn, Graham. It's being supported by Sky Bet. They've donated a lot of money. I think the donation so far is like 385,000, which will go towards research. So it's really, really important that everybody learns CPR.
So the British Heart Foundation's Every Minute Matters campaign, you want to train 270,000 people CPR over the next 12 months, right?
There's 5 people have an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. 5 people every 90 minutes. That's a football match. So when you're watching a football match from the start to the finish, there's going to be 5 people who fall over and they're literally dead unless someone gets on them.
And it's a half time of 15 minutes where it take you to learn to train.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's all we've done it all around football.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Thank you for joining us. We're so appreciative. And also, we've got the This Morning app. If anyone wants to learn how to train, we've got our doctors
All our
actually going
details are
through,
on there, yeah.
through that as well.
British Heart Foundation, Reviver. Go, please do it.
15 minutes.
Hi everyone, just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. And Sam and Nia are joining us now live from Texas. Good morning to you both. Thank you, because I think it's about 5 o'clock in the morning out there, so thank you for joining us so early. You two, you've been together since your early 20s. You are very popular on YouTube. You've got over 2.5 million subscribers. You know, people love you two. You are like the fairy tale couple until, Sam, you were caught on this website for people that want affairs. How long were you on the website for, Sam? And did you come clean because you knew it was going to come out, or would you think you would have always come clean?
I was on the site for maybe a month, but no, I did not have any plans to come clean. In fact, there was a lot more to the story. If the breach didn't happen, no, this would not be out.
Okay.
Or if it was, it would be another way.
So that's good. So do you think in many ways, therefore, this saved your relationship? Because if you hadn't have come out, then presumably something would have happened that would have, you know, finished your marriage and you'd be over.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely gave us a version of our marriage I never thought was possible. That's like so much better than what we had before.
So all this scandal has made you two a lot stronger.
Yes,
Definitely.
because a lot more than just the Ashley Madison scandal came out. In fact, that was the least of it. And this was, how I see it, as the Lord taking the small thing that I had done, exposing it to everybody because I wasn't going to expose it to the most important person, which was my wife. And then that was the beginning of me confessing a lot of other things I had done behind her back. And it set me free from all these secrets that I had been holding for so long. And I was able to expose it all to Nia, trust the Lord would have our backs afterwards. And he walked us through it all together. And here we are today. Much better marriage than we ever had.
Nia, when you first heard, what was your initial reaction? And then how did you begin to kind of put those pieces together in terms of how you're going to deal with it?
I mean, well, when I first heard of the Ashley Madison hack, I was really shocked, super angry and just embarrassed, just a number of things. But, you know, he was pretty adamant that that was the only thing he had hidden from me. And so I was really quickly ready to forgive him and just have his back and move forward together. But then once other things came out and he confessed other things to me, that took a lot more work. That was an ongoing process of just trying to decide, what do I even want? What is expected of me? You know, as someone who believes in Jesus, what does that even mean for me as a human, not even including Sam? And just really had to kind of go on a search for what it was I needed to do and wanted to do. It was a lot.
So when you say a lot, and was it multiple affairs then that Sam was having?
Yes, multiple emotional affairs and a few different physical things, you know.
Okay, and how did I'm sorry, because it seems so intrusive, but I mean, you're on this show, and how did your friends and family react? Because it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. My oldest brother was keeping our family text updated on all the things Ashton Madison, on the impact team, the hackers, and what they were threatening. And he was like basically counting down the days and saying, you know, will the impact team actually follow through on their threats and expose all these people, all these cheaters? And I'm just reading these texts from my brother in the group. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be one of these people. My brother's going to be shocked. And he was. I had to call him and told him that I was in that dump, and he was absolutely shocked. It actually took me quite a while for me to convince him that what I was saying wasn't a joke.
Okay.
Well, listen.
Yeah, and for me, it was like...
Sorry, Nia, go
Sorry.
ahead. Sorry, Nia, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just, you know, it's totally different because my family and friends found out, obviously, like, kind of with the public, because it was just, you know, the dump happened and then everybody knew about it. And so it was pretty shocking for everyone.
Well, listen, mistakes were made, but obviously you guys have patched up and you got it together in a better place now. Sam, what were the first initial steps? How did you go about winning trust and proving to Nia that, you know, you could be trusted and you know you are the right person for her to spend the rest of her life with?
It first started with the confessions and exposing to her all the struggles that I'd had all my life that I'd actually wanted to express to her from the very beginning of our marriage, but I never felt I was able to do it. So it started with the confessions, and it started with knowing that I had no right to try to leave this marriage, to give up on, you know, the division I caused between us. And all I knew to do was just make myself completely available to her, continually express my love to her, and continue to just open my heart to her in communication day after day after day, answering any questions she might have, and setting very strong boundaries to make her feel safe during that period of time. It was a long, difficult ride. It wasn't done perfectly, and I also had brothers in Christ all around me helping me do this, because I definitely could have done that on my own.
Sam, if Ashley Madison had not been revealed, where do you think you two would be now?
Well, I believe in the providence of the Lord, and I think we'd still be sitting in the same spot. Maybe not on the news, but I think we'd still be walking in freedom together from those secrets. I had a very close relationship with the Lord, but I was on my YouTube channel confessing that I was a Christian, and of course I was, but I was also holding the secrets in, and God is very clear, he will not be mocked. And I'm over here, you know, showing what a Christian life looks like, yet I'm hiding my deepest struggles. And that ate away at me for the past several years, which is one of the reasons I got on the documentary. But I think we'd still be sitting here in freedom.
Well, you know, Sam, you have learnt the hard way, and you've written a book, Public Scandals, Secret Vows and Restored Hearts. So do you hope that, you know, your story can actually save other marriages?
Yes. The book is actually called Sam and Nia Live in Truth. But you want to answer that?
I definitely think that if someone is sitting right now where I was sitting 9 years ago, I wish that I had found a story like ours back then. Like, it would have given me so much hope. And if even just one woman or man can find freedom or hope, or, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel through our story, then everything that we've walked through so publicly will have been worth it.
All right, well, thank you for sharing your story. You know, it's quite brave of you to come in. And as I say, Sam, you have learnt the hard way. And, yeah, good luck with everything.
Best of luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.